of it?
I believe the helicopters are filling up again, which I heard them say they were filling up over at the reservoir off of Madera, or right where it turns into Olson Road.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also got firefighters that are hooked up here. They put a little bit of water out, but they've got charged hose lines. Right. Oh, I hear the helicopters coming back. So they're going to hit this again. And the last one went right on top of me.
Well, we might see that.
Got the camera pretty wet.
Did you get soaked? Are you?
Yeah, no, it was fine. It's better that than the red Foss check. So I'll take water any day. But a lot of people don't know when a helicopter drops water like that, how heavy it is. So it's very dangerous. You do not want to be underneath that.
Truly,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very powerful.
And there's videos online of those VLAT, very large air tankers, dropping their full Foss-Check load on top of a full-size, like, F-150 truck, and it'll destroy the truck and roll it over.
Wow.
So you definitely don't want to be anywhere underneath that. So they have a really good coordinated effort with the ground crews where they're calling in exactly, telling them when they're coming in so that the ground crews can get out of the way, even though they're still very dangerous, but they want to stay out of there. And this fire's starting to pick up again. So we'll see. Hopefully in the next few minutes, we'll get some more drops in here.
Okay, we'll check in with you shortly, Tony. We are going to go back out to Christina Gonzalez. She was in a neighborhood and she was speaking with some people and also giving us really good perspective. She was near some of the homes where you could see the charred vegetation right by those homes, which just tells you how close that fire had gotten to those homes, and thankfully they'd been spared.
Now, we have been following the flank of the fire that has kind of reignited on the other side of the street I was showing you. And I happened to come over here and I just met the people who called 911 this morning when this fire began that can give us more perspective. Thank you for talking to us. So talk to me about this morning. What happened?
Well, I simply came home and I was parking the car on the curb and I looked to my left and I saw, looks like a little puff of smoke, like a barbecue. And I was thinking to myself, who would barbecue in a day like this? It's awful. So 30 seconds elapsed and I just went out the door and I looked and it was like a third up the hill already. And I said 911, I called it, and then I ran in the house and got her going, and she came over and got the neighbor going, and that's pretty much the extent of it.
And about what time was this
It's
morning?
roughly around 10 o'clock.
About 10 o'clock this morning. Now, you were inside the house and
I was taking a morning walk this morning, a similar story to Anthony. I thought it was some crazy barbecue, and I was like, who's doing a barbecue at this time of day? As I managed to walk through, I saw some neighbors out, and I said, hey, do you know any information about your neighbors in the back? And they had no idea, so we managed to confirm it on Pulse Point because we saw the one call that Anthony had, and luckily from our quick timing, because it was still relatively in that sort of like fetile stage, right? We managed to get it before it managed to get too out of hand, and we got both Ventura County and Los Angeles Fire Department on hand in like 2-3 minutes or so. It was quite impressive, honestly.
there, now, because we've been following this flank and the wind keeps on shifting a little bit. We thought a little while, okay, this is good. And now here we are.
Yeah, well, it keeps shifting and it's fighting over here in the canyon and blowing back a little bit, but it's not the worst story.
Right now, on where we're positioned, it's quite nice because the winds are blowing away from us. Our concern is the people on the other side on Bridle Path and how they're dealing with stuff, because I've heard there's been some damages and
we have at least one house that has been burned, and
some cars and stuff as well.
And Bridle Path, so people, it's just called Bridle Path because people who live have horses off of Bridle Path. I have many friends on Bridle Path, and everybody's trying to move their horses. Considering describe to me the wind this morning when it actually started.
It felt like maybe 40 miles an hour gust. It didn't seem really bad.
You see, for the standard here, it doesn't seem horrible, and I think people don't get that.
Simi Valley is known as
looking for a truck that makes a statement the second it pulls up. This is a 2026 Ram 1500 RHO. Blacked out, bold, and built for power.
It was just a breezy morning, and I came to just enjoy myself, and I was had not expected at all the events that happened here today.
Okay, thank you guys so much for talking to us. We do appreciate it. Again, these are the people who called this morning, 911, and we are in an evacuation area, and it looked pretty good, but now we've got it coming down the canyon. It's still blowing west of us, away from us. To give you perspective, if you see where that smoke, that dark smoke. Now, Olin, if you follow me here a little bit to your right, you will see the houses, how close this came to behind the houses here already when this started. So that is what these people were going through early this morning as they were going. How does it look? Did you guys just come from up there? How's it looking?
No, man, we're down here.
You're working over there? Are you ground crews and working behind the up there?
I gotta go.
All right, thank you. So what they're doing is, if you look up there, that's what those guys are doing. These are the ground crews, and they are actually pairing up with some of the residents of some of the homes on the other side who are just hosing down already burned area, because it may look burned to you. That fire is not over in those burned areas. It is hot underneath. Like, it can restart at any moment if it finds any way to do it, if the wind continues as it is. So that is the situation. We're right going along where this fire started. We don't know what started it. Investigators will talk to us later, plenty of them here, but that is the situation on the east end of Simi Valley. Back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, Christina, thank you. We'll check in with you soon. So just so we get some more information out to people impacted by the Simi Valley Unified School District, Crestview Elementary School students evacuated to Simi Valley High School. And that is at 5400 Cochran Street, Simi Valley. 60 to 65 kids are being taken. Most were picked up actually by their parents or a guardian. Already Mountain View Elementary School is also evacuating through the number of students being transported to Simi Valley High School. Again, that's 5400 Cochran Street. Officials still determining the next steps for Hillside Elementary School. So when we get some more information out of there, we'll add to that list. We do actually have some breaking news to tell you about. This is out of San Diego. Police responding to reports of an active shooting there at an Islamic center in Claremont. We'll try to get that image. There we go. So this is an active shooting at an Islamic center in Claremont. 10 minutes ago, police issued a statement that the incident is active, but they did say it's contained, noting the department's significant resources on scene at this time. Now, according to police, the alleged shooting happened at the Islamic Center of San Diego just after noon today. Police in the say that people in the surrounding neighborhoods, they were advised to shelter in place. And then we do know that Governor Newsom's press office issued a statement, and they said that he's been briefed on the situation, though we have no word yet on where the shooter is. Obviously, we also don't know what the motive is. We're going to keep an eye on things and monitor that situation and bring you the latest information we get throughout our coverage of the fire in Simi Valley. And with that, we go back up to Stu up in Skyfox, and Maria here with us still, watching the winds. We're waiting for that sign of the winds to start to back down a little bit as we get into the afternoon hours. Maria, you said that would be happening.
Yeah, still on track to continue the current Santa Ana winds. These are winds coming out of the northeast, and when it does that, it dries things out even more. It warms up the atmosphere, and right now those wind gusts could be anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. Some isolated areas up at the hilltops nearing 50 miles an hour. The fire does create its own weather conditions. It's important to remember that, and it will shift as the fire continues. Remember, it heats up the air around it and it rises, and as it does so, it creates a vacuum and it sucks in the air from all around. So at that point, the winds are really going to be erratic and variable related to the fires. That being said, in terms of Santa Ana wind events, this isn't on a really high extreme level. You heard some of the folks that live in that neighborhood. They woke up this morning and they considered it to be kind of an average breezy day. But this again sort of reinforces what we talk about when it doesn't take much wind at all to fan a flame and certainly carry these these embers downwind, and so it creates these hot spots everywhere. These winds are going to continue through the next couple of hours at least. The wind advisories that are in effect for the mountains, which includes this area in Ventura County, will be in effect at least until 3 p.m. And then we're thinking between 3 and 4 p.m. the winds will start to kind of die down close to advisory levels or just below. So that doesn't mean that the winds go away. It just means that it's going to fall just below that threshold. It'll still gust occasionally 30 plus miles per hour, and that can still fan those flames.
Sure.
But the good news is it's on its way down, and hopefully by 4 or 5 p.m. we'll get a little bit more of a sea breeze. And that will add a little bit more moisture, hopefully, in the atmosphere.
We were just talking to our photographer, Tony Butita, on the ground there, right along the border of where the burn scar is. And he was saying in just the past half hour or so that he was really feeling a difference in the winds, that it was definitely dying down since the last 30 minutes or so that he's been standing there. Let's go to Stu now up in Skyfox, who could tell us about what your perspective is now that you're seeing this once again, Stu, from the sky.
Hey, Sandy, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, we're making our way back to that fire. Skyfox all fueled up. You could see the smoke from Van Nuys, but we could actually start seeing some of these flames from about 7 miles away. Now, this, what I'm showing you right here, probably not what anybody wants to see, and not just because it's a brush fire. It's because this is on the downside of that crescent, on the top of that mountain. Now, we're probably not going to be able to see much of that as we get closer, because this is going to be on the south end of the fire, and that's on the downslope of that hillside. I was hoping that maybe when that fire hit that peak right there, that would be a natural break, but I guess because of the winds and that heavy fuel, it's really starting to creep down that other side. Now, I'm sure the fire department, they all know about it, and they're going to make plans to take care of it. Some of those Phos-Check lines that we were watching them lay earlier on, the fire's not really getting that close to it, but it's definitely there for that same reason, to protect it if the winds shift or possibly that fire starts making its way backtracking. Right now, though, we're starting to see a lot of that big burn area, those scars that you were talking about, and that fire continues to burn, and it's making its way into heavier brush. Earlier on, this would have been light flash fuels, meaning light grass, dried out grass that you would see on these hillsides, very easy to burn and easy to move along. Now it's getting more into that heavy chaparral. That's going to be a little bit more of a difficult firefight for the firefighters. If there's a plus to this, this is the side where there are no homes right away. Depending upon how long this fire goes, or if the winds shift or something traumatic happens, it could make its way into the LA County area. Right now, though, you can just see a lot of heavy fire up here. I just saw one of the fire ships, probably Helitac, making its way, probably just checking out the same things that we're seeing and figuring out how they're going to get their aircraft in there to start doing some of those drops. As far as the homes go, well, we're just making our way back. We're going to check around down there. I know that Tony was over there at Peter's Place. That was one of the spots where we watched a lot of those homeowners trying to slow the flames as they were getting closer to those homes. But they had that big fire break out there, so hopefully that's okay. This is the home that did burn. That's the first thing that we can show you right there. Right now, though, pretty much to the ground. But the plus side is the neighbor's house is still standing, and other homes in that neighborhood also all still standing. So we're going to start looking around, seeing where this where the fire activity is, but it does definitely seem like it's slowly moving away from the area where there's lots of residents, the populated area, making its way more up into the hillsides. But there again, just as I was saying that, you can see a lot of fire relatively close to some homes out here. Looks like a ranch, and a lot of heavy trees by there as well. If that fire takes hold into that, it'd be very difficult to put it out. But again, we're just keeping an eye on this. The professionals are in the helicopters and on the ground, and they are taking care of business the best they can. And I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that we're only going to hear one residence has burned, and that's amazing work for all the fire that we've seen and the conditions those firefighters were battling those flames on the ground. Ladies?
Yeah, it's really good news that so far we've talked to a Ventura County fire official who said that the latest numbers still indicate 184 acres. Again, that's not the latest updated numbers, but that's what he has since the past hour or so. So clearly, hopefully not a lot of growth in terms of acreage right there, but 200 fire personnel on the scene fighting this fire with more resources available and expected. So all hands on deck when you're talking about how they actively came together to try to fight this fire, protect life and property.
I think have a ability to talk to someone who was actually on the roof where Tony Butita was. If you recall, there was someone on top of a roof there. There he is. His name is Dan, and Dan is on top of a roof. I don't know if this is his home or are you a neighbor? Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, no, this is my home, and myself and another fireman earlier were trying to keep the fire from getting to that oak tree so that embers weren't flying up into the roof vents here.
Oh wow,
and,
okay.
Yeah, we did a pretty good job. We kind of stopped it here. I don't know. Well, you can't see, it's not pinned on it, but we did kind of keep it from there. The whole house is wet, and yeah, right now there's still a big fire down low, and just trying to make sure that no embers come into the vents. That's my biggest concern at this point.
How long have you lived there, Dan?
I've been here 11 years.
Okay, and in the course of the 11 years, can you tell us your experience when it comes to brush fires?
Well, we've had one other one, but nowhere near this close. It's up on the ridge line a little bit to the south. That was probably 8 or 9 years ago, but this is definitely the closest one that's come our way. I'm not sure exactly where it started. Been pretty much trying to put water and get started by the tires. It started. So I have no idea where it originated.
Dan, so I'm assuming you have a family. Are they safe? Have they evacuated your home?
The family's evacuated. The pets are evacuated. My car's ready to go. But it looks like it's kind of simmering down here for the most part behind me. There's still some hot spots, but I think we're in the clear at this point.
That's certainly good news, Dan. It started on the 600 block of Sandy Avenue. I don't know where that is in relation to your house, but at around 10:30. And then when you got the news, what went through your mind? You sprang into action, clearly.
Well, my house was supposed to actually close escrow on Friday, and the first thing, the funding got delayed. So the first thing that went into
Yeah, you had extra motivation there. Protect that investment.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think we're in the clear. I had a fireman, like I said, when we were behind the house. I had a fireman helping me, telling me where to hit the water and how to work it, and if that tree caught on fire to move. So, yeah, I never felt in danger.
Oh, wow. And fire officials have been telling us, a lot of property owners that this is the time to make sure your property is well cleared in terms of any hazards, right? We learned a lot after listening to so many stories and the tragedy surrounding Palisades and Eaton fires. Is that something that went through your mind, as we experienced that as a whole in a community and a city? Did you take protections and precautions around your home to make it fire safe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the property right behind me down to the gully is actually property of the watershed district, Simi Valley Watershed District, if I'm not mistaken. And they come out and they do a really good clearance twice a year behind all these homes where I live. And, one of the firemen even notated, he goes, "You got a great fire break here, so you should be just fine. Just make sure no embers get up into your roof, so into the vents." So that's why I'm kind of standing up here right now.
You're making me nervous.
Yeah, standing
You really.
so,
please be careful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you.
And how about your family? Or were they all scared? I know they evacuated, like you said, they're all safe. But as you sprung into action.
Yeah, well, I had a bunch of buddies calling me. I probably have over 100 missed calls and texts, but I had a bunch of buddies show up in my house and trying to wet down the yard and whatnot. And they're probably in some other neighbors' yards right now as well. So just trying to take precaution and, get everything wet pretty much.
Are you feeling relatively confident and calmer now as time has passed and just seeing the progress that's been made?
Yes, yeah. The water dropping helicopters in the fire department, they were amazing. I mean, we had 2, 3, 4s coming in just lined up one after another, and they were getting on the front of the line, and yeah, they did an amazing job.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for talking to us. You're a great multitasker. Hose in one hand, phone in the other. Wishing you and your family all the best.
Yeah, stay safe. Stay safe up
All
there.
right,
on the
thank
roof.
you. Have a good day.
You as well.
Thank you, Dan. All right, we do have someone else on the line that we can speak with. Samantha from Simi Valley, tell us about your perspective, where you are, and what the situation is like right now for you.
Hi, this is Samantha Argerbright. I'm the city manager for the city of Simi Valley, and I've been in contact with our fire department and our acting city manager, Heather Sumagaisai, and I understand that the winds are dying down and that fire has been very actively and aggressively fighting this fire. The helicopters have been up, the winds are dying down, and that they're making some really positive forward progress on this fire.
Yeah, absolutely. The coordinated effort has been really remarkable to watch. It's really nice to see everyone come together, and when things work the way they should, right? Ideally, as we're watching these images up from Skyfox, you see just the juxtaposition of the charred, burnt vegetation there right next to a home with a beautiful bright green lawn, and it's seemingly untouched. So it just it's comforting to know that it looks like things are under control.
Absolutely, and we have a Ventura County Fire and Los Angeles County Fire have a great relationship, and I know that we pulled in mutual aid almost immediately this morning and got the air tankers and the air support up pretty much immediately as soon as we were aware of the situation. So great support and, just great efforts to protect houses and property and lives.
And as a city manager, what are you hearing in terms of residents and the surrounding area? How many structures potentially were damaged? Do you have any of that information?
I have not received full confirmation. I believe that there was one outbuilding that I have received confirmation on that was damaged, but I have not received additional confirmation yet, and I don't want to speculate.
Yeah, that is a big concern, obviously. And I know fire crews protecting life and property is their main concern. Also evacuations and the fact that you have 3 temporary shelters set up in place, one for residents, one for small animals, one for large animals. Has this been a coordinated plan that you've worked on for quite some time to make sure that when something like this happens, that everything is orderly and seemingly in place for people?
Well, certainly, we have a great relationship with the Red Cross and with our partner agencies, and being in the area that we live in, we are certainly not immune to, and we're familiar with these fire events, and everyone is ready to jump into action as soon as we need to stand up the resources that we need to ensure that our residents have resources and that their pets and livestock have a place to go.
Effect today, and it seems to have had a good impact on the community and residents there. Thank you so much, Samantha, for your time, and we will check back in with you perhaps with a progress report maybe in the days to come.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, let's go to Christina Gonzalez now, who is live on the ground there. Christina, where are you now?
Well, we are on the same street that we were at before. Let me show you what the residents here are doing, because we were showing you that fire flank kind of making its way back and forth, back and forth. So these are the residents. We are in an evacuation area. They are trying to hose down as much as possible. If you notice behind this house, there is a whole grove of eucalyptus. That is what, remember when we were talking to the man that initially who was here in the morning? That is really a dangerous situation. And it's not in their property. It's in other people's property, but you can see, let me get out of the way, how already the fire came once here. Now, the people that you see up above, and I don't know if you can see them to the right, they're the residents in the house on the other side, and they're doing the same thing. They're watering down, they're hosing down. Firefighters have laid line out here. They want this to stay as wet as possible. As a matter of fact, let me talk, you're the resident here. you're supposed to be leaving, but obviously
Right.
you're staying.
Right. Yeah. We definitely want to protect our home as best as we can. So we decided to stay. My brother up here on the roof, taking care of the roof, keeping that wet. I'm keeping the pergola and the deck wet as much as possible, and some of the mulch that we have around the house as well.
This had to be so scary when
Yeah,
it got this close.
absolutely.
You were saying you've been here, you've never seen anything like that.
No, never. We've been here since 2017, and we've heard of fires in the area, but this is obviously the closest we've ever been to one.
You have everything ready to go if you have to.
We do. Yeah, all of our cars are packed with bags, clothes, the essentials. So we're ready to go if we need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
talking to us. And keep in mind, we're right near where this fire began. And I believe, well, you can see the smoke, but it's going to be a very difficult shot to give you. But Olin, bear with us. If you can just come this way and bear with us, because this is welcome to live television and we have to carry things with us. But let me show you what the concern is and why these people are not leaving. You see where I'm walking now. Let's take a look up there. That is the flank of the fire that is starting up again, and you can see the flames down that way. And that is what they're concerned about. Now, it's on the other side, it's just up the hill from here. They have been waiting. It's next to an area that has already been burned, so that is good. It's just that everything on that side has not. And then we showed you what's behind Olin, which is those eucalyptus. And with this kind of wind, the fire spots forward. It's not like it burns directly in line to get to the next place. An ember will fly from over there to the eucalyptus that I showed you in a second. That is how this fire has been moving all along since it started this morning, and why you see people here doing what they're doing, even though they are in an evacuation zone. A lot of people have decided to stay and help as much as possible the firefighters by keeping everything as ready and as wet as they possibly can. The situation, we have seen investigators here. The fire started somewhere in this area. They're trying to figure out why. We don't know, but we'll let you know more as soon as we can. I'm Christina Gonzalez in Simi Valley, back to you in the studio.
Okay, Christina, thank you so much. Appreciate you being out there and talking to people. And it's been tough to talk to so many people, obviously, because they are distracted and they're in a hurry and maybe they're just not in the mood. So it's nice that you were able to get some information for us and be patient. I'm trying to pull up the evacuation.
Let's take a look to give you some information. If you do have to evacuate from the area, there are some temporary evacuation places set up for you, for residents and community members. You can go to Rancho Santa Susana Community Center. As you see right there, the address is 5005 East Los Angeles Avenue in Simi Valley. And for small animals, you can go make sure they have a shelter at Camarillo Animal Shelter. You can take your pets there. There's also actually 2 that have been set up for small animals. You can take them to Camarillo Animal Shelter as well as Simi Valley Animal Shelter. And for those larger animals, as we saw, the horses being taken out of that burn zone and the evacuation zones, you could take those larger animals to the Ventura County Fairgrounds. That's at 10 East Harbor Boulevard in Ventura. But take a look at your screen there. Those are the evacuation zones, as we've been telling you about. That's all posted on emergency.venturacounty.gov. And these zones are for evacuation orders that are in effect. That means you have to go now. And evacuation warning areas, which means get ready to go. Should the threat come near you, you should be ready to leave immediately. So those are the zones in question right now. Interesting that there are zones made in place, right? Because depending on where you live, like where I live, I don't even know what zone I'm in.
I know.
I don't know if residents know what zone they live in.
Thinking of that, but maybe when you're in an area like this, it just comes with the territory.
You're given a zone.
Know your zone.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good reminder, actually.
But if you don't know your zone, you can definitely find out by going to that website right there. It'll give you all the emergency information you need. Emergency.venturacounty.gov.
Okay, we do have one of our photojournalists, Al Rupp, right now. Al, you fill us in. Tell us where you are and what you're experiencing.
Hi, yeah, I'm out here at 282 Trickling Brook Court. There's a house that caught on fire, unfortunately. Ventura County Fire is out here trying to make sure that it doesn't spread to any other homes. The neighbors next door I saw just about 5 minutes ago were packing up and leaving. So it's a pretty sad sight to see this house go up, but there's some gust of winds that come every now and then that is making it hard for the firefighters to, obviously do their job.
Yeah, it's so random.
I think this was the home, Sandra.
Yeah, that we saw.
Go up in flames.
Do you know the street exactly that borders that house, Al?
I'm not really sure what the cross streets are here. I just know that it is Trickling Brook Court.
Oh, yes. That is the initial house we saw once we came live on the scene with Skyfox overhead. We saw a structure burning that is on Trickling Road. As you're right there in front of it, thankfully, it's the only house or structure that was really impacted, I believe.
I don't
from
think
this
there's
fire.
a home on one side. It was just the one on the right that looks like it was spared. It didn't look like there was something adjacent to the other side, but this home this home got spared. It's always frustrating and
the
confusing,
only house
isn't
on
it?
this street.
Yeah, how that happens.
The random nature of a natural disaster, devastating fire, tornado, you name it. It's this weird impact it has where it can pick a spot to destroy and then be random and totally save and spare another structure right next to it. So clearly this is really unfortunate as we see from the ground there, everything that has been burnt and destroyed.
So on the right-hand side, we have your shot, Al. That's the ground shot. And then on the left-hand side, we have the visual from up in Skyfox. And that is indeed the home that we watched from the beginning where it caught on fire. And then now this is the end result. So it's really heartbreaking to know that someone today woke up in their home and at 1:30 in the afternoon, that home is no longer standing.
Is that the homeowner, Al? Or what were you mentioning about the people in the area? They all evacuated?
Yeah, the house that's to the right, there was people packing up and leaving the area in a rush. I'm not sure who this guy is, if this is his home. He just walked up now to at least check it out and see what's going on.
Oh, that's really sad.
Are there firefighters still? I thought I saw someone walking by with. Okay, so let's see. We have the fire engine still there, and what are they doing now? Just checking for hot spots?
Yeah, they were originally hosing down this house. They had some hoses out and water running, and now they're just here checking for hot spots and making sure that it doesn't spread to any other houses.
What does it smell like where you are?
It was pretty smoky, and you could really smell all the burnt, charred stuff. But with this breeze that's going on right now, it pretty much pushes it in the other direction. So it doesn't get as bad as it probably would if there was no breeze at all.
Are you able to go closer, or are you limited in how close you can get?
Yeah, the fire department has asked me to stay in the front yard and not to get any closer than that.
It's interesting, those cars in the front of the home that got burnt down. I noticed them initially, and it looks like, at least from this vantage point, it doesn't look like they were really damaged, or does it? Or maybe the one in the front does, huh?
Yeah, the Mini, I think it wasn't so much fire damage as the house our garage collapsed on top of it.
Oh, I see that.
And then all the other stuff is like water damage and smoke.
It's so heartbreaking and tragic when we see scenes like this, especially when homeowners are begging us sometimes to go check out their address, see if their house is okay, see if it's standing still. That's oftentimes what happens when our reporters are on the ground here in an evacuated zone, in a disaster zone, whatever it might be, and they're not allowed, these homeowners, allowed into those areas. We get desperate texts and emails and calls for us to go check out their block to see if any damage has occurred. And unfortunately, hopefully this homeowner knows about this already, is not just watching this for the first time on the news, because it can be so disheartening and heartbreaking to see that their home now stands like this. But we know that Ventura Fire and all the fire officials worked quickly in a coordinated effort to try to put this fire out. And they have definitely done their best against wind, Mother Nature, dry terrain, all of that to make sure that this community and life and property does remain safe. Thank you so much, Al, for that perspective and your time and your thoughts there. Let's go to Tony Butita, also on the ground, right by the fire. Tony, what are you seeing and where are you? Oh, active flames.
That fire, yeah, it's continuing to back down the hill here behind these houses. And that fence was no match for those big flames. You can see how far it's burned down over the past 15 or 20 minutes. So far, no drops here. They've been doing it farther to the west over there. It's hard to tell. There's a helicopter right there in the smoke. So that seems to be the area that they're focusing on right now. I think they're just going to let this little canyon here burn itself out.
There are no homes obviously nearby, right? Or not too close.
I'm standing in the backyard of the guy.
The guy with the roof.
Talked to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still in his backyard, and they're still watching this area.
Oh.
And I did notice another helicopter that is out here, the Helitanker 55 from Colson, which is actually paid for by Edison. There's a couple of them, one in Los Angeles County and another one down in Orange County, all funded by Edison. And they respond to these fires as a mutual aid. That's the big double rotor. I think it's a Sikorsky, maybe. Big helitanker. It's been out here as well. So at least 5 helicopters, 4 different agencies.
Thankfully, they got a really quick handle on this as fast as they could because of the fact that there's a huge resource right next to this community, with Bard Lake being the reservoir where all of these air tankers and helitankers can pick up that water to make these drops, as we're seeing on the left of your screen right there. That is the water resource where we're seeing them tap down, pick up some water, and then go to the fire line. So clearly, what an excellent resource for them to be able to make those water drops so quickly and then refill.
Yeah, they're coming back within a matter of minutes. And by the time the 4th or 5th helicopter drops, the first one is already on his way back. So it's very, very quick having that little reservoir there.
It could be a very different story had that reservoir not been there or been filled.
Oh, yes, that we know.
Yeah, when there's other things they'll set up with little pools on top of some of the hilltops here, and then they've got to fill them, and they got to land and fill the tanks. But when they can just, I'm assuming, I can't see Skyfox's picture, but I'm assuming they're snorkeling right out of the reservoir, which is much quicker.
Because it seems like now we're watching this and it's close to you. Do you sense that air quality changing?
It's blowing to the south and west, which is away from me, which is great.
Okay,
so
that's
you can kind of see. You can see it going off up to the right. That's south is to my right here.
Okay, well that's certainly good. And Maria had mentioned how in the afternoon hours, as we got further into the afternoon, the winds would die down. Hopefully
You can see it's still consistent.
Yeah, it's still blowing, but we're waiting for that to happen.
And it got real gusty a few minutes ago to where I was having a hard time holding the camera steady.
Oh wow.
That's kind of died down. So it kind of comes and goes.
And do you see residents still, or have they kind of left the area because they thought they were okay? I mean, is Dan still on the roof?
Yeah, I will give you a shot of him. Him and his girlfriend are right here. He's still watching. I've been kind of asking him what's going on the other side of his house because I can't see over there. And he said they were doing some water drops behind him.
But he's feeling good because he's feeling confident that his property has been saved.
Yeah, I think he's pretty safe here at this. There's not a lot down there, when you start to get really high flames, but there's not a lot And what is here like this is really green, so that's not gonna burn super hot like some of this other dry stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's clear that the wind, thankfully, as you mentioned, is going away from where you are and where you're standing in that backyard. But yes, we're still waiting to see when that happens, when the wind starts to back down a little bit, and then we get a little bit of that sea breeze, which will definitely help firefighters in this, cool things down a little bit there. Okay, Tony, obviously we'll check in with you soon. We do want to get caught up on another story here that we're watching, that breaking news situation out of San Diego. So in that case, police have reported that the active shooter threat to the Islamic Center in Claremont has been neutralized. So that is a big update since we last talked about this. According to police, an incident first described as an active shooting happened at the Islamic Center of San Diego just after noon today. So about an hour and a half ago, people in the surrounding neighborhoods, they were advised to shelter in place. And Governor Newsom's office put out a release issuing a statement that he'd been briefed. He was aware of the situation. It's the latest update we have on that. But the big news right now that the shooter in this Islamic Center in San Diego has been neutralized. Keeping an eye, obviously, on that. And as soon as we get even more information, we'll bring that to you. And we go back to Skyfox up where Stu is. And
whoa,
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code. Interesting. Can it generate reports?
It can now.
Nice. So you're saying we can all build apps now?
Yeah.
I'm on lunch. I gotta make a call. I'll be in my office. Just built an inventory tracker. Protein calculator. Book sharing app.
A workflow manager that
Tracks who still owes for the group lunch.
Trash duty schedule. Since no one seems to care.
just built a
I just created a goal tracking system.
We built the same thing, didn't we?
Yep.
Can this thing manage contact?
Is the SOC compliant?
I want to animate this graph.
Create a party planner.
Profesor de español.
An inter-office dating app. For dogs. For office dogs. You know what I mean?
And this is our avenue. Sorry, it's Sandy Avenue. And if you can make it out, because it is quite a distance down there, that is actually going to be the spot where that fire started. How do you know that, Stu? Well, you can see that red tape in the distance there surrounding that one spot. And then you have those two investigators. We've been watching them pretty much since we got here. They were quick to make their way over here. They had a crime scene closer to this, but now we have that red tape up. So I'm venturing to say this is the exact spot where that fire started. Quickly ran up that hillside. You might not be able to tell because of our altitude and how it's shot, but that is a very steep hill right there, and it made its way up into that whole area that we're showing you right there. Now, it did take out one home. We watched that one burn live. It was devastating, but but they also saved the other house that was next door. I also know that we were talking to somebody from the station that made their way over there earlier on, and there are a number of vehicles on that property. That's going to be the house that's on Trickling Brook. Now that the smoke is gone and we have a little bit more time to really kind of look, you see the house next door definitely has some scoring, especially up there towards the eaves. So the firefighters definitely kept that house safe or kept it from burning. Might have some damage, but at least it's still standing, and there's more house than not. Sad to say, the neighbor right there, that's the only one that we've really seen that is completely leveled. Now, as far as the fire itself goes, we've been Jeff has been listening in because we can hear the air attack talking to the airplanes and the helicopters, and now they're starting to move some of their resources to the backside or the southern flank of the fire, as it would be. Doesn't look as impressive, but all this fire that's in here on this hillsides, this is all still very, very dangerous and very active. And one of the reasons why it's so dangerous is we've seen it in the past, like something will break loose and then roll down that hillside and then start a fire at the bottom, and we know it's going to burn very quickly going up. So these are the hot spots right now that they're starting to make their way over to, and these are the helicopters that are making their way, and they're trying to figure out the safest way to get around that smoke, maybe through that canyon, Maybe they got to go all the way around, but that's the spots that they are starting to attack. As far as that fire goes and the neighborhood, well, you're right. The fire is definitely moving away, but there's still so many little hot spots in a lot of those canyons and gullies. I think the right word is gully, behind a lot of these homes. We're keeping an eye on it. The fire department down there, you said it, over 200 firefighters on the ground. Oh, and the dozers. We haven't given any props to the dozers that are down there. I know that there's one over here on this side, over by Sandy. There it is. Way off in the distance. Now, there's 3 of them that I counted. And, you know, the importance with these guys are, it's, you know, they're slow moving. They don't get a lot of credit, but these guys are the ones that are actually making the line to kind of keep that fire, like creating a fire break. And they're also the ones that are going to really add to those numbers when we start hearing about containment. So that's one of them right there. There's a couple of others in that area that's kind of right in the middle, or somewhere right up in here. We can't see it through the smoke right now, but they're definitely working down there, working hard, doing a fantastic job. And of course, the aerial assets, we counted 5 water dropping helicopters and a couple of other helitack that are up here, just kind of keeping an eye on everything, figuring out where the drop should be made, talking to the boots on the ground. It is a very coordinated effort. It is not just hibbity-bibbity, like, oh, hey, there's some fire, let's drop some water on it. These guys are told where to go, what to drop, and where to drop it. There you go. You got that fire line right there, the FOS check, and now you got a hot spot right there on the other side. And that's what they're going to be dealing with for a long time.
That's the big concern, right? Those flying embers can create a hot spot anywhere at any moment. But thankfully, Stu, from your shot, what a difference. Wow, in the last hour and a half, in terms of the wind, you're really seeing less smoke lying flat, and also the flames too. So we're coming up on maybe in the next, less than 2 hours, those high wind advisories are going to be expired. So hopefully things will get easier. But you're taking a look now at your screen at the evacuation zones that we've been telling people about, those evacuation order zones. That means you got to go. That means you've got to be out of there already. Evacuation warning areas, that means be ready to go. You don't have to leave yet, but be ready. And obviously the temporary evacuation centers that have been placed. We know so far there are shelters for people to go to, the Rancho Santa Susana Community Center. For children, you should know that the student reunification point is at Simi Valley High School. We know that one school, Crestview, has been evacuated. Some other parents are also picking up kids at different schools as well. But the reunification point for students, Simi Valley High School. As far as small animals, and you can take those to 2 different shelters, Camarillo Animal Shelter and Simi Valley Animal Shelter. And for those larger animals, go to the Ventura County Fairgrounds.
Okay, so Stu, you were talking about the wind, of course, and now we have Adam actually joining us, and he is really going to give us a good sense of when we can see a little bit of relief, Adam, when it comes to the wind.
Yeah, I'm going to focus on some maps here for a little bit. So first of all, just to show the fire perimeter and where we've seen the fire going, and then we'll look at the wind forecast here in the next couple of minutes. So this is the real wide view, by the way, for anyone who's just recently joining, and if you're maybe new to the LA area, not even off the top of your head knowing where Simi Valley is. So we're looking up here into Ventura County between Simi Valley and Thousand Oaks in the hills right here. That's where we've seen all the action. And, you know, ladies, as you were talking in the last 5 minutes or so, we saw that hot spot build up, and it was very interesting to watch how quickly that hot spot was spreading. So just gives a good example of how fast the fire can spread. So let's come in a little bit closer here, and we've seen the fire begin up in this area. Winds have been blowing from the northeast throughout the day today. And by the way, when I talk about the wind forecast, I'm going to show you how not only the wind speeds will change, but the wind direction will change in just a couple of hours. But we've seen the flames spreading in this direction. We've seen, of course, a lot of air assault and ground attacks, and everything that you would want going on is happening right now. So there's our fire perimeter. This entire area in red is the evacuation order, which is the mandatory evacuation, big area right here. Now let's switch over. I want to show you what some of the weather stations in this area have been showing. So I'm going to select this spot in the hills here, pretty close to where this fire is, and we're going to get a look at what the winds have been doing over the last several hours. And we've seen wind gusts in this area. Let me zoom this in a little bit closer, and you can see that we're looking here in 10-minute increments. We've seen the winds gusting consistently over 30. We've got a 44-mile-per-hour gust at about 1240. So that's concerning. We've seen these strong winds. We have wind advisories in this general area. We also have the relative humidity that is low, at times below 20% here this afternoon. So that's why there's such concern and why we're seeing this fire spread so much. Now, if we can switch it over from the tablet here to Weather 1, I can give you an idea of what the wind forecast is going to look like here. So again, we have a wind advisory. I know Maria was talking a lot about this earlier today. Until 3 o'clock this afternoon, winds going like this from the northeast. This is a Santa Ana wind event going on right now. As we take you in a little bit closer, the specific spot of this fire is technically outside of the wind advisory area. But like I just showed you, we've seen wind gusts over 30 and at times over 40 miles per hour here. On to the wind forecast now, and this is where you're going to see a change, a pretty drastic change just in the next couple of hours. So when we look at forecast wind gusts, here's Simi Valley, of course, near the fire. Winds coming from the northeast. That's that dry Santa Ana wind. That's what we see going on right now. I'm going to step this hour by hour. Here we go into 2 o'clock. It's generally the same thing, but the wind speeds start to come down a little bit. And then look how the winds do a 180 by 3 o'clock or so this afternoon. This is why at 3, the wind advisory expires. We lose the Santa Ana wind component here. Then we see more of this onshore wind, which will contain higher humidity, so that's good. And the wind speeds still gusting over 20, but not to the levels that we're seeing those winds right now. Here we go into 4 o'clock. Here we go into 5 o'clock. So we still have some gusts around 20. And this is why it's also important for the firefighters to protect kind of like the north end of the fire perimeter, because the winds will change direction and could start blowing embers back in the opposite direction from where they're blowing right now. Now, after 5 o'clock, I'll take you a little later into the evening, 8 p.m. This is great to see. We do expect this evening the winds to really turn calm. Wind speeds will be under 10 miles per hour, and that's where they should hold through the nighttime. So as long as they can get a good grasp on the perimeter here in the next few hours, that'll be most crucial when the winds are still kind of gusty. But later this evening, we do expect, again, not only the wind direction, but the wind speeds to change, and the winds will get much lower a little bit later on this evening. We'll head back to you.
All right, we can't wait for that, those gusty wind advisories to expire soon, because that'll certainly help the efforts here as you're taking a live look at the aerial view and the assault on the fire right there. Let's go to the ground, though, to Christina Gonzalez, who can tell us a little bit about what you're seeing now. Where are you?
Well, they are hitting so hard with the drops, the area you see behind us. Let me show you some of the helicopters, a spotter plane. You've got, the plane above. They have been hitting and spotting this because, again, this is an area where the wind has shifted a little bit, and we've been showing you the flame. As a matter of fact, I don't know if he's still up there. You've got people, civilians up on the hill trying to hose down. I think, can you see him from over there, Olin? You know, these are people who are just trying to hose down that area where the fire burned but came to a stop behind the houses where there's a huge eucalyptus grove that you see over there. And behind us, what you can see, firefighters are actually laying line to behind every one of the homes that you see. But first, let me see. I see this. I'm hearing him getting closer. Let's see if we can get you one of the drops from the ground, because you hear them coming in and they're really loud. It's on your left, Olin. But that is actually not going to be it. Maybe he'll make a turn over here, because again, they've just done 4 drops, 5 drops in a row, and now they send in the spotters to take a look to see if they need to do some more. But like I was saying, you know, let me show you the firefighters. They have ground crews trying to create perimeter around the area, and those are the guys who've hightailed it up there to try to, you know, add to the containment that they need to create a very wide containment. And that here on the street, what you'll see is you see the fire trucks, and the fire trucks literally are laying line to the back of each one of those homes that are facing it, where you see him coming over. That is where you're at. Even with that said, though, you might be able to see that there's darker smoke popping up. And that darker smoke, the brown smoke, is smoke that has not been hit with fire, with water, or with retardant. So that is what they're trying to target right now, because we do have some hot spots coming in. So the tiers of approach to fighting this kind of fire is pretty massive. You've got, like I said, the air, which is that you can't fight a fire with it like this without the air crews. And then you have the ground crews creating line around them. We've shown them to you. And then you have the trucks out here creating lines on the ground, but also literally taking their hoses and taking them to the backs of the homes. It is a full-on firefight. I have to say, we were expecting the winds to calm down a little bit, but they have not. They have not. And this whole area has been evacuating, but a lot of people have decided to stay. They're keeping an eye on this. They feel confident with how the firefight was going. We're also very close to where this started. They're still looking at it. But as long as they see that brown smoke, they're going to keep on hitting it hard. And let me show you the kind of people. These are people who've lived here forever and ever. Oh, then let's go to the left, because this is a family we were talking to. Now they're on the other side. They're on the side where they're saying they're lucky because they don't have brush behind them. But how quickly can the house next to them, which is next to the brush, go? Scary, can I talk to you a second real quickly? Are you up to it? You have a second? Can you come on over? I just don't want to impede. It's a long morning for everybody.
Yes, it has been.
And you guys have lived here for a while.
Yeah, my uncle's been in this house since 71. I've been out here since 73. I live a few miles away. I got a call from my best friend that got the alert about a fire on Sandy Avenue. Got over here right away, and the heroes were already here. The fire department was already doing their thing.
Yeah.
Watched them airdrop and save that trailer at the top of the mountain there. You see what it could have done, but also very fortunate with the winds. With that said, we're sitting here looking at it go back and forth and back and forth. I mean, you've obviously been through some of these. Been out here long enough.
It doesn't get any easier, does it?
No, this is close to home. This hit close to Uncle Robert's place, so that's always a concern.
And Uncle Robert is obviously not a person who can run out of here.
No, he's 88 years old, living by himself. We've got all of his important papers together just in case we've got to get out, but fortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen for us. Downwind, they're dealing with all kinds of challenges right now. So for us, it's just watching the firefighters do their magic and be impressed by that and hope the best for those that are still dealing with it. It's just not good, no matter how you see it.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and good luck to your uncle and to you guys. Be safe out there. Again, a lot of the people in these communities have lived here for many, many years, but as used as you get to this, it's never, ever easy. Now, you can see, like I said, if we go up here, I believe they're going to do another hit because that is towards the southwest side of the fire. We're here to where it actually, you can still see the hot spots right on top of the ridge, and you might be able to see some hot spots actually beginning to burn again. And like I said, our weather folks are the ones who are going to fill you in on this, but we have not seen the usual less wind that we see in the middle of the day, and it usually gets calm at this time, and then later at night you get the sundowners, which are the winds that start coming in when it gets dark, when you start getting this stuff. But they are hitting it hard, really, really hard. But just looking at it, you can see how it flares up and it goes down. It flares up and it goes down. Again, the east flank of the fire, northeast flank of the fire, where the investigation continues as to what may have started this. I'm Christina Gonzalez, back live to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, it really tells the story of how quickly things change, really, truly, minute by minute. It really illustrates that. Christina, thank you. We do have an update, actually, that this fire, according to Ventura County Fire, has burned 720 acres. 720 acres, 0% contained. That has not been updated, but we did see one structure, which was a home, burned before our very eyes. As far as other smaller structures, we don't have an update there, but one home thus far that we know of. We do have our photojournalist, Al Rupp, with a resident in the area, Jessica Burrows, I believe, is her name. There she is. Jessica. Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for speaking with us. I know your nerves are all over the place. Fill us in. How long have you lived there? What's going on with you?
Yeah, of course. I've lived here my whole life since I was 1 year old, and our neighborhood is just like a tight-knit family. We all check in with each other, and we all just always are like really tightly and close with each other. And just seeing this was really sad because our neighbors are just like a really nice couple. They keep to themselves, and it's so sad to see this. And it was really sad to think that we might have lost our house in this and everyone, because our neighbors are like family. And God's protection in this was just really beautiful to see, because it was really scary. I've never been like engulfed in embers like that. It was dark and brown, and one of our dogs almost did not come into the car and stuff like that. It was so scary. But we had friends who came out, and
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over. Monday.com is super easy to use and knows how to do AI right.
Received texts, our neighbors, everyone was just there to check in with each other, and we're just here to support our neighbors. And it's really sad, but there's definitely a plan for all of this.
So did you know the couple whose home we're looking at here that was destroyed in the fire? Tell us what happened exactly at that moment. Were they able to evacuate in time? And were you scrambling as well to leave the area?
To be honest, I was in school and I got called out. I'm over at Grace Brethren, and I got called out, and I just drove right over here with my siblings, and it was really hard to get through because a lot of people want to look, and it's really difficult when they don't live here and you wanted to just get to your house and it's just the sentimental values of everything. It's not even about any of the things that are on this earth. It's just about what's sentimental to us, and we were just trying to get our dogs, and my dad was at work and stuff, so it was just, we all just scrambled to get it.
Yeah.
My brother actually ended up having to drive one of our vehicles, and he has only his permit, so it was really scary. We had to just act quick and just do it.
Yeah, no time to think. How far away do you live in proximity from where you're standing right now? Just so I get a sense of how close that fire came to your home.
Like 10 feet. Wait, sorry, I'm really bad at feet. I would say about 3 car lengths from that house.
So very close. Okay, very, very close.
It backed up to our trailer, actually.
Oh, wow.
Literally, the fire, if you look in our backyard, it is backed up to one of our trailers back there.
Wow.
And, it burned actually 2 of the structures on our property as well. But they're insignificant to our home. So.
Of course. So you mentioned you've lived there your whole life since you were 1 year old. In the past, do you have any memories of experiencing anything like this, and how does that compare to today?
Yeah, in 2018, I would say it was about then, we had a similar experience where we had to quickly evacuate, and it was really scary because I was younger, obviously, and I actually threw a bunch of picture frames in a bag. I didn't realize that sentimental things were not just pictures and frames, but so that was funny. But yeah, we were way more fortunate than no homes were lost near us, fortunately, but it was really scary because it was up on that hill over there. And I just remember thinking, oh, we're going to lose our house. And we had just rebuilt it the year before, so that was really scary.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you were describing how everything got really dark, it's something that unless you're in it, you don't really understand how it can feel like you're going from day to night in a matter of seconds, right? When you're dealing with a fire like this.
Yeah, things happen really quickly with fire, and you don't realize it till you're in it. That's for sure. Our whole garage was filled. I didn't even know that could happen, so it's really scary.
Were you
just always be ready?
Yes, Jessica, I hear you, and especially with such a tight-knit community, it's so great you're looking out for each other. Were you able to get word though from that family who owns the home that was destroyed?
No, they're a couple. I unfortunately did not see them. The fact that their car is still there, I don't know if they were in town or not. They kind of keep to themselves. They're really, really nice though, and I always wave when I see them. I really hope that they're okay, and we're gonna make sure that they have a place to stay and all that. So hopefully they're doing okay.
Yeah, obviously our hearts go out to you, the community, and your neighbor right there. It's going to be some time before.
Praying for all of them, yeah.
Yes. We appreciate you sharing your story and your experience, and we'll check back in with you.
Glad you and your family are safe.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Jessica, thank you. Let's go out to Tony Butita. With a different perspective, you were seeing live flames where you were, Tony. What's the latest now?
Yeah, I moved a little bit east, maybe half a mile or so from where I was before, in the backyard of Dan. It was on the roof, the guy you were talking to. I'm in the 600 block of Comet Avenue now, and you can see the camp crews. Remember I was talking earlier about once the fire burns through, the camp crews are going to have to come in and do the hard work of turning all this dirt over, looking for hot spots, and they'll be here for probably the better part of a week, making sure that this hot spots are out completely.
Yeah,
so they've got the hard job, and you can see how close it is to this neighborhood, and you can see a stark difference from the homes where I was earlier. Are a little newer. These are probably the older part of Simi. It just kind of, as you go like a block to the east or so, it started to get into like houses built in the 50s and 60s, which may not be as fire resistant as some of the newer homes. So they really got to get a handle on this. And usually when that spotter plane right there comes through, shortly afterwards going to be a FOSS check drop. There
Yep.
it is right there.
Thankfully not over you, as we know. But we just got the information just moments ago that this has grown officially to 720 acres burned. So not surprising there, but definitely they've made progress. As you know, you've been there on the ground for over an hour now, at this point over an hour and a half, and you've seen a change, right? There's progress, there's hand crews down there, they have heavy equipment that they're carrying, and they're gonna do all the heavy work of overturning that soil and all of that. So clearly, progress is being made.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you can see, let me show you this, the flag. It's not such a steady, straight out wind like it was before. So we are, and yeah, we'll send it back to you guys.
All right, some good news there. Let's go straight down to San Diego now, where we have a live press conference regarding that active shooting threat at the San Diego Islamic Center.
We began to receive calls from just a couple blocks away that we had more active gunfire. Officers were also responding to that call for service at the same time. There was a landscaper that was doing his work that was shot at and fortunately was not hit. That was at about the 7100 block of Salerno, which is just a couple blocks from here. Moments later, at the 3800 block of Hatton, officers were called to that location where they found a vehicle in the middle of the street with who we believe to be the shooters in this incident, both deceased. The circumstances that led up to this and the details of what happened and exactly which time it happened will come out in the days ahead. I can tell you, this is, in 28 years, this is the most dynamic and impressive response that I have ever seen in policing. We have every single police officer available throughout our county that dropped what they're doing and did exactly what they're trained to do: run towards gunfire. I could not be more proud, and I cannot express the gratitude, the willingness to step into harm's way in a moment like this. And I tell you what got me. Watching the kids come running out. Just thankful to be alive. I want to bring up Mark Remley from the FBI. Because of the Islamic Center location, we are considering this a hate crime until it's not. And at this point, we're going to work closely with the FBI to make sure that we're matching all the resources that we need for this investigation. So, Mark.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Remley. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI San Diego field office. Today, the FBI responded to assist our local law enforcement partners at the Islamic Center of San Diego. This was based on reports of an active shooter. As the chief said, what we know at this time is that there are 3 deceased adult males, and those are the presumed victims at this time. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of the victims of this tragic incident. There were 2 subjects, both teenagers, and both are confirmed deceased. I want to thank our local law enforcement partners for their quick response that undoubtedly saved the additional loss of life. The FBI is meticulously assessing the situation and is prepared to employ every resource we have to uncover the facts of this incident. No community should have to go through such a tragic incident, but we will work tirelessly until we learn the truth. We have on scene a number of special agents, task force officers, our evidence response personnel, victim specialists, and many more. As we work through this investigation, we ask for your patience to determine any motive and facts associated with the shooting. The FBI continues to ask for the public's help in providing any information that could help us resolve this investigation, and we remind the public that any detail, no matter how small, could be useful. The FBI has set up a digital media tip line for information regarding the shooting. We ask that the public submit their tips to FBI.gov or call 1-800-CALL-FBI with any information you may have. Thank you.
One more piece of information that I failed to put out. There is a reunification center set up at 4125 Hathaway, where parents could be reunified with their kids and any of the loved ones that might be related to the Islamic Center. That is the location where you can be reunified. Next, I want to bring up the Mayor of San Diego, Mayor Todd Gloria.
Thank you, Chief. I want to be here to reemphasize what our police chief said. The threat apparently has been addressed. Children are safe, and that is a good thing. Obviously, we've had the loss of life here at the Islamic Center of San Diego. To our local Muslim community, my prayers are with you. I want to assure our Muslim community that we will do everything it takes to make sure that you can feel safe in this city. And no resource will be spared in making sure that our religious institutions and locations are protected in this sensitive time. To respond to our calls to clear the area, to allow law enforcement to do their jobs. I ask you to continue to do that. You hear otherwise, as Chief said, students can be picked up at the church just down the street here. We have that information already sent out. I would just say at this time, obviously we'll have more comments later today. But at this moment, I want to simply express my immense gratitude and that of all 4 million San Diegans for the incredible law enforcement response that we saw here today. As Chief mentioned, response within 4 minutes. This is what we train for. This is what we ask of our public safety professionals, and they absolutely deliver in the way that we ask them to do so. I appreciate our San Diego Police Department, our San Diego Fire and Rescue Department, our Chief of the Fire Department is here as well as our local, state, and federal partners, many of whom have been in touch with me directly, recognizing the gravity of this situation and why it is such a tragic situation for which there'll be a lot more work to be done in the days and weeks ahead. Again, my condolences to the victims and their families. To our Muslim community. One of our great leaders is here, Imam Taha, who is directly impacted. This is a time for making sure that we do everything that's necessary to investigate and fully address the incident that was here today, but to reassert, as I always will, that hate has no place in the city of San Diego. And when it happens and crime of any nature occurs, we will hold you accountable. Again, appreciation to our public safety professionals. I'll turn it back to our chief.
I'll open it up to questions here in just a second. I want you to keep in mind, we're giving you what we have and what we know at this point, and there's only so many limitations. There's a limitation of what we can go into at this point until we can confirm information. So with that, we'll open up to a couple questions.
5 total. 3 here and 2 in another car.
Yeah. So thank you for asking that. How many total deceased? So we have our 2 suspects that are deceased. We have 3 victims at the Islamic Center. All 3 are adults, for a total of 5 people that are deceased related to this incident.
I wanted to confirm the Bolo, the county-wide one that went out this morning. Is that what you connected to this? The dad that called 911 saying that his son's stolen car and shotguns were missing.
Yeah,
one of the suspects here.
Yeah, so we are actively investigating that right now. to figure out and piece together exactly what led to this moment. And as we get that information confirmed and verified, we'll be back out here providing more details moving forward.
Chief, apologies if you said this before, but how did the two suspects meet their end?
So the suspects at this point appear to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. There were no officers involved in firing their weapons. But that is still very preliminary at this point. But that's what we believe right now. 2 males.
Do you have ages?
At this point, we believe them to be 17 and 19.
The suspect's identity was put out in the air pretty quickly. Was the suspect already known that they pre-planned this and people were aware of this before it happened?
So, again, we are actively investigating the things that led up to this. Obviously, these things don't typically just happen on a whim. And the information that we knew preceding it is what we're actively looking into. And once we get that information verified and assembled, we will provide it. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So the Islamic Center does have security. One of the deceased is a security guard that works there, and I think played a pivotal role in assisting from this being much worse.
Chief, are there cameras there? Are you looking at footage?
Yes. Yeah. The Islamic Center does have cameras, and there is footage. There's going to be a tremendous amount of information and details that we're going to try to sort and put this puzzle back together again.
Do you know what type of firearms within 3 years?
Not confirmed.
Do you know about any shots fired maybe?
No, we don't.
You know there was a lockdown at other religious institutions away from the location. Was that something you put out, or was that self-imposed?
Shannon, I don't necessarily know, which locations were put on a lockdown. There's other neighboring schools in the area. It's standard protocol. When information like this comes out with an active shooter, we try our best to get that information out and either shelter in place or evacuate from the area if it's ideally safe to do so. So that would not be outside of protocol for that to happen.
Just one more question. Yes.
When the agents arrived to the scene,
So our initial officers that got on scene did not engage with the suspects in the parking lot. They began to make entry into the Islamic Center. They observed 3 deceased bodies outside of the center, which, obviously forced them to engage in an active shooter response, immediately deploy inside of the Islamic Center and start working from room to room. They did have to breach doors to get into all of the different rooms. Extremely chaotic. There was somewhere between 50 to 100 police officers inside of that facility. All of you that responded here could see how many officers and deputies from around the county that were surrounding the outside of the facility. We also have the scene a couple blocks away where we had active gunfire coming in on a landscaper that was just out there doing his job. Thankfully, he's okay. He was not hit. He was not injured. But we got a lot of work to do to try to figure out what led up to this and exactly what actions took place. But I can tell you with 100% certainty, the heroic actions of the responding officers and deputies is beyond words. To know that this many of our public servants are willing to leave their loved ones behind, drop what they're doing, and run towards gunfire without asking any questions is remarkable.
I just
one of the victims is the security guard. Can you tell us anything about these two other adults?
Not yet. We're obviously making notifications as we speak to family and loved ones, and so I want to respect that. So we will be back. We will be back with more information a little bit later today. Thank you, guys.
Would like to say anything?
Chief. All right, Marla Tea is here in the Fox 11 studios taking over our coverage for Sandra Endo and Araxia Carpadian. Let's recap what we just learned from San Diego. This is the other breaking news story we've been following today. The police chief just saying that 5 people have died after this Islamic Center shooting happened earlier this morning. Here's what we can tell you. Of those 5 people, 3 are reported to be male adult victims, including a security guard who the police chief is giving incredible kudos to, saying if it wasn't for that security guard, it could have been a whole lot worse. So 3 victims in this, and then 2 suspects. Interestingly, they say they believe these suspects are teenagers, 17 and 19 years old. They reportedly died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. So a total of 5 dead, 3 victims, and 2 reported teenage suspects, both male. Obviously more to come there, but this was an Islamic Center shooting where this happened at a school. So there were a lot of kids involved. No kids were hurt in this. Obviously, different situation for their mental health, having gone through this, but more to come from San Diego. In the meantime, let's get back to our coverage with Stu Mundell live in Sky Fox as we cover the Sandy fire, erupted now to more than 700 acres. We're seeing one of those air tankers making its way, some of that smoke. That looks like a lot better in terms of no active flames. Stu, what do we know right now?
Well, Marla, hello. First of all, good to work with you. Once again, we're checking out that fire. Like you said, this thing exploded into 700 acres very, very quickly. Skyfox getting here before 11 o'clock. And when we arrived, what a different picture that was. For anybody that might just be joining us, let's kind of do an aerial tour of what is going on. You know, you just called it. It's called the Sandy Fire, and it's called that because it started here on Sandy Ave. This is the actual backyard of the home where that fire started. We were watching investigators down there taking a look at what's going on, and actually this angle really kind of shows you how that is a hill. Sometimes when we're over it, we're looking kind of down, you don't really get the grasp of that's a hill. So you had terrain, a big hill right there, you had light flash fuels, that was a lot of dried grass out there, and then you had that wind event happening, and boy, what happened? Take a look. It ripped through this area, huge flames when we first arrived. That heavy, heavy smoke made it very difficult even just to see some of these homes down there. Now, we do know, sad to say, that one house was destroyed in this fire. We're looking for that official confirmation a little bit later on. Let me see if I can find it, because I know it was at one of these corners. This is one of the spots, though, Pete Place. This is where Tony was earlier on, and there was a lot of standoff out here, hoping that these homes were saved, and in the end they were. And I believe that's going to be because of a lot of that fantastic brush clearance. That kind of panning shot that I'm showing you right there, all that's not a sandy path. That is actually right there is going to be area that was cleared behind this backyard, and I think that's really what saved a lot of these homes. Let's get back to that wide shot and see if we can follow that progression of that fire, and we can find those that area that, sad to say, somebody did lose their house. Let's take a peek over here as I'm trying to figure that out. Nope, that's not the street we were looking for. We'll find it. But that fire definitely spread very, very quickly. Now, they did get resources out here fast in the air and on the ground. In the end, they're talking about 200 boots on the ground. They've got a couple of dozers out there as well. Those dozers doing amazing work. They're kind of the unsung heroes, because that's going to be ones that are going to be cutting that fire line around all this and give you those numbers later on when we start talking containment. In the air, though, they had 5 helicopters total, a couple of them from Ventura Fire. They had their own Firehawks out here. 2 Colson ships, those are the ones that are on contract, and as I understand it, may actually be paid for by Edison after those fires that we had a while ago. Now, they were out here too, and those are huge helicopters packed with a lot of tech, and they were doing some amazing drops as well. And then our regular boys, well, not regular, but our homegrown, that's going to be see LA City and LA County out here as well, doing some fantastic drops. In the end, though, they actually had to call for this Forest Service to bring in the Fosjack. You can see that line being lined over there, and one of those ships are right there. That's going to be a lead plane, so possibly they're going to be doing some more drops here shortly. Matt was on just earlier on, and he was talking about the winds and how they are going to possibly do a 180, and that might explain why these Fosjack lines are on the east side of this fire when it was definitely running to the west. So possibly this is what the plan is that they're thinking that, well, when those winds change, we're going to have that line kind of reinforced, and it's basically just going to burn back on itself. Right now, though, still a very active firefight. Like I said, one home was destroyed in the end that we know of. A couple of others may have damage, but in the end, take a look. All these other homes down there been saved. The firefighters doing amazing work, Marla.
Yeah, and what a collaborative effort it has been. You talk about LA City Fire, LA County, Ventura County, CAL FIRE. Responses were incredible. I mean, we were hearing from residents who actually called 911 when they first got wind of the flames, and they said within minutes, 2-3 minutes, there were crews already on the ground. So kudos to our firefighting crews out there as we zoom in. And I believe that is the home that you were looking for, right? That is no longer, Stu?
Yep. That's the one that, and again, we watched this firefight happen, and to think that if there's anybody that's making judgment calls, trust me when I tell you, the winds were crazy. The fire, the flame, the licks of flame that were coming up that hillside, huge. And there was one fire truck on station down there that was battling those flames. Now that house next to it, you might be able to make out some scoring up there towards the top, some discoloration. But in the end, that's the only damage to that house. And the winds were basically coming this way, up that hill, and pushing it onto that house next door. So the fire department doing amazing work down there. Very sad to say a homeowner did lose their house, but in the long run, all these other homes were saved, especially in that neighborhood. And the firefighters on the ground, it was very, very tough work just watching that. And again, you might say, well, we didn't really have a wind event. Yeah, Maria actually did say that this did fall under Santa Ana winds, but also we know just by living in California and covering these so often, these fires, they make their own weather systems, and that wind was ripping down there. We were watching, and it was like, that's how we knew, was because the winds were moving by so fast that we could see the house, and then it would be covered by smoke, see the house, and then these trees, you could make out that those winds were harsh.
Since we have you, Stu, and you have the best view in town of the charred hillsides, you were just showing us those active flames. I believe it was the northeast flank of the fire, of the ridge there. Are those the only active flames right now that you can see?
Yes, that answer would be yes. And the fire basically has moved. For a long time, it was running almost perpendicular to the actual homes down there, but it actually has moved and made its way to the south. Now, there's a lot of fuel over here, but the winds definitely have stopped, and also those flames have to work their way down these hills to get those upsides again. So I would venture to say the flames definitely have slowed. Hopefully the weather is going to work with these firefighters. They still have all those aerial assets out here, meaning the helicopters and the fixed wings. So they'll hopefully be able to get a hold of those flames before they can really entrench themselves in a lot of this chaparral. And that is thick chaparral down there. As far as the Fosjack, like we've been talking about, I was kind of curious why they were dropping it on the east side, because that started early on that fire. Again, those firefighters, they know what they're doing, and that's not sarcasm. That is the honest truth. They knew that this was the plan and that the winds would change eventually, and this is going to keep it from falling back on itself. And also, there are homes at the bottom of those hills. So good work for them, and for sure, and hopefully their plan will hold, and the weather will as well, and they'll be able to get a handle on a lot more of this active fire.
Well, since you're up there flying around at, what, 1,000 feet right now, are you getting buffered around up there because of the strong winds, or what is that like for you? Smooth ride or bumpy?
Well, the ride up here is actually pretty smooth, but then again, I got Jeff at the tiller, so you know it's always going to be excellent ride in Skybox. But also, we're at about 6,000 feet. You know, the firefighting efforts are down lower, and they do keep us up higher. But all that being said, when we first arrived out here, you know how it goes. You get the call from the assignment desk, and they're like, oh, go check out this brush fire in Simi. As soon as we walked out to the helicopter, and you could see the smoke on the horizon, so you knew this was a big fire. When we got here, the winds really kind of shocked me. I was not prepared for that. It really, truly was howling down there. I can't give you any kind of speeds, but I would venture to say probably in the 50-mile-an-hour mark at gusts, not constant, but definitely moving. Those flames were ripping through these neighborhoods. That light fuel, it was just hopscotching on these hillsides, and that heavy smoke was covering these neighborhoods. And you knew those fire trucks were down there, and those firefighters were doing what they can as those flames were ripping up those hillsides, getting into these people's backyards. It was amazing work for them and also for the aerial teams that were out here dropping water on it. But here you can see a little bit of damage to some out structures. But again, houses saved, brush around it also saved. So great work for the firefighters.
Yeah, I was hearing on my way in, I was hearing a live interview that we had here of a young lady who came home from school, and she said her house was saved, but a couple of buildings on their property did get taken by the flames. But she said, no big deal. All we care about is our house. So some outbuildings have been impacted, plus that one home completely destroyed. Stu, we'll let you take a break just for a second. I want to get to the ground, and we have photojournalist Joab Perez, perspective from his camera live right now as we now see those flames making their way up the hillside there. All that vegetation is ripe conditions for those flames. Joab, where is this the actual home that we lost today?
Correct, Marla. That is the home here, and I'll just kind of walk you in here so you can see what it's looking like.
Okay.
And you can see it's completely burnt out here. And we just have Gina Silva here, so I'm going to go ahead and give her the mic here.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Joab.
Yes.
Hi, Marla. I was at a different location talking to some of the residents there. Everyone has pretty much just been in awe of the work of these firefighters. And of course, very concerned. I've got Ron here. Sir, I know that your neighbor here, we can move out of your way, sir. I know that your neighbor lost this house. Can you describe what it was like earlier this morning?
Yeah, it started in the canyon down there, and we saw a smoke plume. The wind was blowing so hard, you couldn't stand and talk like we're talking. It would blow you away. It moved so fast that, it moved so fast that we were at another neighbor's watching, and she was loading her car up. And I told her they need to get out of here right now. The fire was right here on the hill. And then the next thing was, it was just an inferno.
It must have been terrifying for you watching all of this.
I actually thought I was probably going to die.
Have you seen anything like this, sir?
Well, yeah, we've had fires before, but I was trying to get a pump in the neighbor's swimming pool to where we could hook hoses up to fight the fire, and all of a sudden everything just went black. There was no air to breathe, and it was so intensely hot that I was just asking God to get me out of there.
Traumatic.
Yeah.
How is everybody in your family?
We're good. We're lucky.
And were the neighbors here when this happened?
Yeah.
Are they okay?
Well,
Besides obviously losing their home, physically.
I mean, he was standing here watching his house burn down, so.
Oh, devastating.
And I don't know, this fire department, Ventura is the best. I lived over in the valley for a lot of years, and no offense to LA City, but these guys are the best. I don't know how they saved this house right here. I mean, I watched them, pretty much block the flames and save that house.
Yeah. They've lost one structure, but we have been watching them work, battling it from the ground, from above. So many drops.
They're special. They're really special.
And it's not just Ventura. They've got LA County. They've got all kinds of resources here.
Yeah. No, and then our neighborhood, we're really tight knit, so everybody gets it on and helps each other out. So.
What I saw on the other street, these massive bulldozers that they're bringing in. They also have strike teams that are arriving. Some are already on the mountains. They're watering down those mountains. And of course, some of the residents were on the roofs, watering down their roofs, just making sure. How do you prepare for something like this, sir?
You can't. You just, in our case, all we were trying to do is put out spot fires, and everybody was kind of paying attention to what was going on. So if somebody saw something,
we're about to get wet. We better walk down a little bit. Again, this is a fire that broke out earlier this morning.
Somebody saw something. I mean, my neighbor said your roof's on fire. And fortunately, they got the fire department to get up there and knock that down. And then you'd look in the brush like this, and all of a sudden it just pop up in flames. So, I mean, that's all we did all morning was fight fire. So.
You look like you've been, I don't want to say the word because it's set like, but you've been through hell and back.
Yeah, it's a tough deal. Fortunately, nobody got hurt that I know of, so, I don't know how they flew the helicopters. I mean, it was blowing so hard. That was the first thing I said to my neighbor, pardon my French, screwed.
The essence of driving is gripping the road, keeping momentum.
Those winds were so strong at that time, and even now, we're getting a few windy gusts, but nothing what it was like.
No, it was howling. But we, all of us, the fire department tells us how they want us to clear our property, and I know everybody on this street, we bust our butts to make sure that it meets their standards. I cleared mine 4 times this year.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I'd clear it, then we would get a late rain, and it'd all grow back. I'd clear it again, get another rain. But, if we didn't do it, the whole street would have been gone.
And that's the smart thing to do. Are you planning? I mean, it looks like they're getting it under control, but if they were to say evacuate, do you stay or do you leave?
The only thing I did was got my dog, and I was able to help, and so I stayed to help.
We saw people taking out their animals, their horses. There are properties here how many horses would you say are in this area?
Well, there's 600 homes in this community are all horse property. I don't know what the head count horse-wise is. I would think probably a good 400 head somewhere around there. But we practice the skills on evacuation and that type of thing. You want your horses to be able to get in a trailer. You don't want to wait till this is going on to try to figure out, he's not going to get in.
Well, would you ever consider moving out of this area that is so close to the mountains?
I made my life. I was a professor at Pierce College. I started the horse program there, and I've been fortunate enough to make a living from the horse my whole life. My son, we have a ranch up in Eastern Oregon where we raise cattle and horses and that. And no, it's just, you want to be prepared. I was the one that started the evacuation program at the college, built the horse center over there. So, my life is connected.
So you are the kind of person that would tell people, follow orders.
Right, exactly.
All right, sir. Well, I thank you so much for speaking with us, and I'm so glad that your home is doing just fine. Unfortunately, your neighbor lost his home. And Marla, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Hey, Gina, what an emotional, compelling interview. What a nice man he is, and we thank him for being so prepared and all he's done for the community. Gina, I don't know if you can still hear me. I'm just curious, the homeowner who did lose their home, are they there? Was it is it a family? How did they get alerted to the flames coming up the embankment, the canyon?
Those are all very good questions, but I don't have the
Okay.
answers to that. I understand the family is no longer here.
Okay.
But how they were alerted, I can only assume, it was so windy, it might have been hitting the windows. They looked out and then all of a sudden you see those flames in your backyard. I mean, can you imagine how terrifying that must have been? Just absolutely horrible. But yeah, thank goodness that as of now, no reported injuries as far as we know here on the ground. You may have a different information with you. I'm not sure.
No, we haven't heard of any injuries either, so that's great news. We've just been reporting 720 acres, 0% containment, no injuries, one home lost, we don't have a number in terms of other structures that have been damaged or destroyed, but there have been some outbuildings that we've seen damaged and heard about. So it is more than one structure, but at this point, just one home.
Yes, and there are so many resources here. I know we mentioned Ventura, LA County, LA City. 200 firefighters are on the ground, 4 helicopters, an air tanker hitting it from above. And LA Fire has already sent 3 strike teams, dozens and dozens of people are out here fighting this from the ground and from above. I know I came across the strike teams as they were given orders as to what to do. I asked one of them and he just said, we just got to get to work immediately and make sure that some of the areas that have already been doused, that the flames don't come back up. Now, joining me is a Simi Valley resident. What is your name, sir?
Christian.
Christian, were you here when it first started?
Yeah, I was down the street. I was living on my, I was literally just hearing helicopters go by, and I walk outside and just see a plume of smoke. Just seeing what was happening and following along with the news, just trying to figure out what's happening, if I have to get out, if I have to get my dogs out. Unfortunately, this happened a few years ago. I don't know if many people remember the Woolsey fire, but it's practically going the same route. And I'll be honest with you, I've hiked these hills back on time again. There's brush that's taller than me. I'm 6'1", and you see brush that's probably double my size, and it's just not being mitigated. So it's an unfortunate thing, but until we really see brush fires like our controlled burns and all these different forest management things that we don't see that here. And it's unfortunate because these people lost their homes, my neighbors.
And your neighbors, were they here when it happened, or were they out of town?
I'm further down. I don't really know these people, my neighbors personally, but I know like a lot of people in this neighborhood. They're very shaken up about this, obviously, and we're just so grateful for the Ventura County Fire Department and all of the first responders here. Luckily, here we have the reservoir, which is a few miles away. So I think the helicopters have just been nonstop and dropping water in and around this neighborhood to put a stop to the fire. I think that without that, and had they had to go all the way to the ocean, we would have been in a lot different situation.
So when you talk about mitigation, who do you blame?
Who do I blame? I honestly blame Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom and a lot of the different forest management agencies, they have ruined this state when it comes to forest management. We see them building so much money into other, for example, green energy. We see green energy, it's them spending all this money, yet the power lines have not been updated in 50 years. You look at all these different controlled fire burns that have been taking years to actually get done, they aren't doing them. And I just think it's really unfortunate because a lot of people have lost their homes. Palisades have completely burned because of it. You look at the reservoirs with Karen Bass, it's unacceptable in my opinion.
Well, thank you for your opinion. Regarding how it all went down this morning, I know you witnessed it. Describe your emotional state.
I was panicking, I'll be honest with you, because I just got back from Camp Pendleton. I'm a Marine Corps reservist, so I had my drill weekend this weekend. Got back, woke up, and I'm like, oh, okay, another day. And then I see the fire, I see the plumes of smoke, and I'm just scrambling to get my dogs and everybody ready in case I have to get out. I have 5 dogs, and all of our personal paperwork, I needed to get it sorted and get it taken care of to make sure if we did need to get out, we could.
And you mentioned the Woolsey fire. How does this compare?
It's following the exact same path as the Woolsey fire. That's why I mentioned mitigation, because this fire, Woolsey fire, started over here in the hills of Simi Valley and pushed all the way to Malibu. And unfortunately, I think this may be the same case scenario.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. I appreciate your time, and I'm glad that you're doing well.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it.
So there you have it. residents here have a lot of opinions, but obviously very thankful that their properties are still intact. Sadly, what you're looking at is one of the homes that did not survive.
Yeah, in Ventura County, they're just propped there at the end of this cul-de-sac where this home did perish earlier today. If you're just joining our coverage, it's just a few minutes past 2:30 right now, and the Sandy fire erupted just about 4 hours ago. It's now grown to more than 700 acres. This is the home that was destroyed. This is up on a ridge line there. The flames came down from the canyon, made their way up. The people who live there, they are safe, thank goodness. Reportedly, it's a family. They have since left. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with them as they go through this, but they have their lives. The smaller picture, of course, that is from Skyfox. You see the active flames there as those crews, as a mutual aid effort, are doing their best to contain these flames and get this to an end once and for all. The winds have played a significant role in all of this. They were gusting, whipping much faster earlier. They will die down as we get to the later hours on this Monday. On the line now is Ventura County Public Information Officer. Can you please identify yourself?
This is a recording.
Oh, well, that's okay. We'll move on. And there's Gina Silva, and we have Joab Perez. And this is Skyfox, Stu Mundell. Okay, got it. Okay, so this is just a live picture from Skyfox, and we have those active flames there. We're talking about the winds. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Adam Kruger, if we could, to give us more of an exact perspective of the winds currently.
Yeah, Marla, we've got the winds that are basically in the process of changing direction within the next hour here. We've seen the wind more out of the northeast, and Stu's been telling us that, and everyone who's been kind of around this fire the last few hours saying how the wind speeds just alone have kind of backed off a little bit in the last couple of hours. But within the next hour, the winds should actually do a 180, and instead of blowing from northeast, they'll be blowing from the southwest. And this is something back maybe 25 minutes ago or so, Stu was talking about this up in the helicopter about the FOS check on the kind of east line of where all this was, and the flames were blowing away from that at the time. But they're really, I think, securing that perimeter on the opposite side because the winds will do that expected change. And we've seen some of the weather instruments kind of indicate that around the Thousand Oaks area. We've already seen the winds kind of start to change direction there. If you guys are ready, I've got a couple of things lined up visually. We can go first to the, okay, so here we'll start with our weather graphics here. I also have something on the tablet if we can get to that later as well. But let's start right here. So we've got a wind advisory, which is technically only in effect until 3 o'clock, and it's because of the expected drop in wind speeds and the change in wind direction. But right now, it's a Santa Ana wind across this area, winds from the northeast. We've got gusts at 40 to 50 miles per hour. Say that one more time in my ear. Okay, we've got Ventura County PIO on the line. So, Marla, let me send it back over to you. We'll get to that, and then we'll talk more about these the forecast winds, which will be generally improving, but I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Let's go back to you.
Very good, Adam. Thank you. All right. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, Andrew Dowd. I'm the Public Information Officer with Ventura County Fire Department.
Yes, thank you. You've been a part of our coverage all day long. I just wanted to make sure it was you. Okay, what can you tell us right now about the Sandy fire?
So a few things that we have to update here. We are still at approximately 720 acres, but as you know, these fires move quickly, and we're not updating acreage every single minute. We do have approximately 500 firefighters that are here, both from Ventura County Fire and agencies throughout Southern California.
Did you say 500?
Approximately 500 firefighters.
Wow. Okay. Great.
We sadly can confirm that, as you have been reporting, there was one structure that was destroyed, one home that was destroyed by this fire. We are continuing to move throughout the community to identify any other structures that may be damaged or destroyed by this fire. As you know, this was a rapid, wind-driven fire, and we worked so incredibly hard to get people out of harm's way. I heard a guest you were talking with earlier talking about their efforts to help suppress the fire. And our firefighters were out there aggressively trying to protect structures and support evacuations. So as somebody who lives and works in this community, this impacts us tremendously. We're very sad for this loss. but the work, the professionalism, the teamwork, the coordination by the firefighters on the ground has just been very impressive in this firefight.
Yeah, very impressive. I mean, considering, and yes, it's awful that that family lost their home, but it could have been much, much worse. How do you rate this in terms of the firefight thus far? Because we're seeing this live picture from Skyfox, a whole lot of white smoke, not a ton of active flames. Where are we in this firefight? Are we close to the end?
Well, firefighters are continuing to work to get an upper hand on this fire. From my vantage point, I do see less smoke production, which is a good sign. It's a sign that our strategies and tactics are working. When we are coordinating air attack retardant drops along with dozer lines being cut and hand crews working to improve those lines, that's how we can start to get control of this fire. It's about resources and coordination. The number of helicopter water drops that we have, the air attack that's happening, the ground forces that are attacking this fire. It's the coordination of all of those firefighting efforts that are working to bring this fire under control. I'm always a little cautious to say we have the upper hand because, you know, we work, it's a dynamic environment. We still have over nearly 30,000 people under an evacuation order. But the 500 plus men and women that are here fighting this fire, they are giving it their best.
I just want to make sure I got that correct. Over 30,000 people remain under an evacuation order.
Nearly 30,000. So we had 28,678 individuals that were under an evacuation order. We had an additional 9,821 individuals that were under an evacuation warning. So like 28,000 total residents that were in evacuation order. And what we saw early in this fire were people following those evacuation orders. That allowed firefighters to get in, as you saw from your own footage, firefighters going in, protecting structures, knocking down fire, and able to work safely. Look, we like I said, we live and work in this community. These incidents, they impact us just as much as anybody because we live here. This is our home. This is our community. So anytime we lose a structure, anytime we have a loss like that, it's tragic for all of us. We've been fortunate. There have not been any reports of injuries secondary to this fire, which is fantastic news. And again, just incredibly proud of the work that the men and women of our agency and partner agencies are doing.
We're just over 4 hours into this firefight. I know you have to go, but your parting words as we look forward to this afternoon and the firefight strategy ahead, what does that look like?
We are going to continue working tirelessly to get the upper hand on this fire. That's the first thing on this fire. As challenging as it is, this fire is an important reminder to residents all throughout Southern California about the importance of being prepared, of having a plan, of knowing where you're going to go when you have to evacuate, of being ready to evacuate at a moment's notice, and following evacuation orders. We are early into our fire season. It's a stark reminder that we live in wildfire-prone area, and it's a grim reminder of the importance of being prepared for wildfire.
Absolutely. All right, Andrew Dowd, a public information officer with Ventura County. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we'll get an update from him a little bit later on. And authorities, let's get back to Adam Kruger for more on the wind speeds out there right now.
Yeah, we're going to map things out for you here. First showing the fire perimeter, then we'll look at the forecast wind speeds, which it's generally some good news we have coming up in the next couple of hours. So this red right here, this darker red color, that is the fire perimeter. We've seen the update now on the map as it's reflecting the 700-acre update as well. Something you keep seeing in the aerials from our helicopters is this kind of well-defined sort of peninsula-shaped portion of the neighborhood. And as I come in a little closer here, just Marla, as you were talking with the PIO, we saw a water drop in the tree lines right here, kind of on the south edge of this peninsula right here. Now, at the moment, the winds are going like this from the northeast. This is what we expect to change in the next hour or even less, where the winds will do a 180 and start blowing in this direction, which is even more crucial that they're protecting this kind of border right here on the south end of this, again, kind of peninsula shape of the neighborhood right here. I want to show you what some of the current wind measurements are doing right now. And so this is kind of Simi Valley's up here. We have Thousand Oaks down here. You see the little kind of like tail shapes. So that's showing the wind direction from the northeast here, but the wind's already changing direction down around Thousand Oaks. And the red numbers you see are current wind gusts. So let me pick a specific weather station kind of in the hills near where this fire is right now. And what this is going to show you is how the winds have changed in the last couple of hours and what we've seen. So as I take you in, I'm going to zoom this in, kind of doing this on the fly. So notice. And then here are the wind speeds and the wind gusts. The G means gust. And this is what we've seen change for the better in the last hour or two. Notice these gusts at times over 40 miles per hour, over 30 miles per hour. And then as we come to, let's say within the last hour, we've seen the wind gusts generally under 30 miles per hour. So that's already a little bit of good news, little change there. Still very dry. The relative humidity is still a little bit below 20%. Now, if we can switch over to Weather One, I'm going to show you what the wind forecast looks like for this specific area here. So I've got Simi Valley, Thousand Oaks highlighted. Our model showing that right about now, expecting the winds from the northeast here, but already changing direction around Thousand Oaks. Let's take this another hour forward into 3 o'clock. And now you can see that the model's projecting winds coming already, again, kind of doing a 180, coming more from the west or southwest around Simi Valley. Now, in the next few hours, the wind gust speeds will still be probably over 20 miles per hour, which is concerning, but not as extreme as we saw a little bit earlier when the gusts around here were 40 to even near 50 miles per hour. Now, here's 4 o'clock. Again, we've seen the change in wind direction, so now blowing kind of from the west, but still some gusts over 20. 5 o'clock, gusts around 20 in this area. Still seeing the opposite wind direction from what we've had all day long here. And then as we go into the evening, this is like the best part of the forecast here. Not only do we see the wind kind of direction helping out a little bit, but also the speeds will be much, much lower near sunset and into the overnight hours. We expect the winds to generally be under 10 miles per hour. So weather-wise, things will be improving. The change in wind direction will happen, yes, but that's also going to bring higher humidity, and the wind speeds will be going down over the next few hours. Marla?
We love to hear that news. All right, Adam, thank you so much. Let's get back to the ground. We're going to first take you upstairs. This is, of course, the view from Skyfox. Sandy Fire burning more than 700 acres, 720 acres last count. Some 500 firefighters from multiple agencies are on this. This started at 10:30. One home destroyed, no injuries to speak of. Let's see, almost 30,000 people do remain under an evacuation order, and there was just a drop there. We'd love to see that. Almost 30,000 remain under an evacuation order. Close to 10,000 remain under an evacuation warning. You're seeing some of those active flames here. And when we get this close to those shots, it's always a sight to see the boots on the ground and then also the trucks that are stationed there, because they know that these are the most perilous portions of the firefight right now. We look forward to the winds dying down, but we also know this from Adam, that these brush fires, they create their own fire, their own wind conditions and own weather conditions. So that is also what firefighters have to contend with. When we talk about the mutual aid effort, we're talking about LA County Fire, Ventura County Fire, LA City Fire, Skyfox recalibrating there. I think I got everybody. Ventura County, CAL FIRE as well, another agency that is on this firefight. But you see the mark of the fire and the work that it did, those flames completely charring this hillside here in Simi Valley, adjacent, of course, to these communities that have dealt with the Woolsey fire. We heard from one of those residents down below who said this is taking the very same path as the Woolsey fire, and he talked about the need for vegetation mitigation out there and how he hikes regularly, and he talked about the vegetation being taller than he, and he was more than 6 feet tall. So there is a lot of fuel out there for flames on a day like today, and we can see the damage that can create, the danger zone that it can also create when those winds picked up much earlier today. And fortunately, they are expected, as you just heard Adam, to die down a little bit closer to sunset time, or even before that, a couple of hours before that. Okay, let's get to the ground. Gina Silva, she is there at the site. Right behind you is that one home that did burn and was completely destroyed. And it's whipping pretty good. I mean, obviously, look at your hair.
Well, actually, Marla, the residents have been coming out to take a look because there's been several hot spots. So the firefighter came out here and, they keep dousing it, but there are hot spots that are popping up at different areas. Joining me now is Lori and Tish. Come together, both of you. You're both residents here in this neighborhood. For how long?
I've lived here for 10 years.
For 10 years. So describe for me what you guys witnessed early this morning.
Okay, so for me, it was really scary because we were in El Segundo. My husband was getting a medical treatment done, and all of a sudden I start getting fire alerts. Thank God for me, my son was home because we have 4 Huskies and a Pomeranian, and all I cared about was get the animals out. The Woosley fire burnt through here in 2018. It's actually where it started, and it went from here all the way through to Malibu. The one thing I'll say about Ventura County, our reservoirs are full, which unfortunately for Los Angeles, if this gets over there, your reservoirs are empty. And our firefighters here actually do cut fire breaks, which is why sadly we've lost 1 home here, but the rest of us are still standing.
What about you, Tish? Were you in the neighborhood when it happened?
No, I was at work. And when the alert started coming and friends started sending me pictures of what their backyards looked, I go, my horse is there. I got to go hook up my horse trailer. Because usually when something like this happens, the whole neighborhood, comes together. Not everybody has a horse trailer here. So if you do, you hook up your horse trailer and you're willing to take someone else's horse to an evacuation center. I know that right now they're taking them to, I believe it's the fairgrounds in Ventura County. Yeah, and they have volunteers from the, I believe it's the animal services, that they sent 20 horse trailers up here, drivers and trucks and trailers to take horses out for anyone who didn't have a trailer, which is great.
Well, you've both been out here now for hours watching this work by the firefighters. Describe it.
When I first hooked up my trailer on Wrangler Avenue over there, I came in off of First Street, and it was very smoky, and just people with horse trailers trying to get out. There's a few ways in here to this neighborhood, so that wasn't a problem. But yeah, that's mostly and people panicking, especially because of the animals, especially if they didn't have a horse trailer. So a lot of people were panicking.
The one thing I'll say about our neighborhood is this neighborhood is full of first responders. We are so blessed that way. We have so many firefighters that are neighbors. We have so many policemen that are neighbors. So I'll tell you what, firemen from all over LA and Ventura County are here right now, and they're working together, and we couldn't live in a safer place.
Yeah, Santa Monica, Oxnard is here. There's so many different agencies. LA County, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
We got a great, Ventura County is way different than LA County.
We have seen a lot of manpower out here from the ground up above, so many drops.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been pretty amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
And you guys, vote Spencer Pratt.
Yes, of course.
It's not a campaign here. Thank you, ladies. Okay, yeah, go right ahead. Other reporters want to talk to them as well. But yeah, there you go. So this fire broke out early this morning, as we've been reporting, and it just exploded so fast. Marla, what's the acreage at this point?
Gina, I'm sorry, did you just toss it back to me? If so, I was being talked to about what's next in our coverage.
Yeah, I was talking about how it started with just 10 acres, and within an hour it exploded to more than 184 with 0% containment. What's it up to now?
720.
720 acres. It is moving fast. It's still very windy out here, but not as bad as it was earlier this morning.
Right.
And there are so many crews here from LA City, Ventura, LA County. They've got the strike teams. I did some interviews with them as they were getting ready to work. It has been a pretty amazing thing to watch them work from above. As soon as I got here, I saw one drop after another. And a lot of the residents were coming outside just to take video and pictures of the drops. They were very impressed with all of it.
Absolutely. And Gina, while I have you, we just spoke to Ventura County Public Information Officer. He gave us some latest numbers. So I'll rattle those off again because I think it's important. So 500 total firefighters are now on this. Earlier, it was about 200. So now they have about 500 firefighters battling the Sandy fire, 720 acres, just this one home. This is it right here, destroyed. They are doing their best to surveil the area to see if any other home was lost. There have been some outbuildings damaged and or destroyed. They don't have a count on that yet. Beautifully, no injuries to report, thank goodness. And still, almost 30,000 people do remain under evacuation orders, and almost 10,000 are under a current warning. Just be prepared to evacuate. But Gina, I know your view is just this particular property and this cul-de-sac, but the shots from Skyfox are more encouraging in that you don't see a whole lot of active flame, thank goodness. You do see a whole lot of white smoke as we see those water drops continue to happen. And we just had a live picture of the reservoir there and one of those aircraft picking up some more water to make more water drops. So that is some good news. Gina, we'll let you get back to news gathering. We want to update you now on the breaking news that we've been following. The other story, this one is out of San Diego. If you have not heard, there was a deadly shooting at an Islamic center that is home to a school for kids. This happened earlier this morning, and here's what we now know as we have a live picture of the scene. There we go. It's in and out, so bear with us here. You see the black and whites down below. There reportedly is a gathering, maybe a vigil that is underway for the lives lost. No kids were hurt in this, thank goodness. But unfortunately, 3 male victims, adult victims, died in this shooting. One reportedly was a security guard who did a lot of good work to save other people. That's from the San Diego police chief. 2 suspects said to be teenagers, 17 and 19 years old. They are dead as well. So a total of 5 dead. Those suspects, those teenage suspects, reportedly died by self-inflicted gunshot wounds. It was an incredible scene and turnout from law enforcement. The whole situation has been, quote, neutralized. They've been saying that term throughout the day. So the threat is gone, but unfortunately, this is the scene down below. Just a terrible, terrible thing. Another active shooter scene with 3 victims, male victims dead. We're working to get more details from authorities in San Diego. All right, so that is that story. Let's get back to the Sandy fire. And if Anaya, our producer, could tell me one more time. Oh, there we go. There's Christina Gonzalez on the ground, smiling. We like the smile, Christina. Does that mean you have some good news to report?
Yes, I do. We're off of Sandy Street, right? I'm standing. The fire started actually behind these homes. We talked earlier to the people who call 911. The good news is, if you can see, you don't see a lot of smoke like we did a little earlier. Now, you might see the firefighters, and there's actually homeowners behind that third house over there, and they have been hosing down this entire area. They've been hitting it really, really hard with drops. But what I want to show you, Olin, if we can go to that flag over. You see that flag behind the fire truck from Ventura County Fire has been our bellwether of what the wind is doing. And for the first time today, that flag is not literally just blowing and blowing hard, which is a good thing. It is the first time in the day. You'll see it start blowing once in a while. We are getting some wind gusts, but not what we were getting a little while ago. The other thing that we're beginning to see, and let me show you, when we were here last time, there was a lot of brown smoke over that hill because the fire is just on the other side, the fire line. We were here because they had a lot of hot spots and they were hitting it really hard. But you see that there's a lot more white smoke, less brown smoke on this side. That's a good sign. But again, you're looking at where this whole thing started. Listen to the people who called 911 this morning when they saw it begin.
All right. Thank you so much, Christina. We love the example of the flag. Just, I was going to say sitting there, hanging there without any movement. That's absolutely what we want to see. And obviously, we've lost communication with Christina as we're now zoomed in on a firefighter on the hillside there.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Mark. Yeah, now I had some sound from people, the people who called 911 this morning, who saw it begin. And I don't know if they have that sound queued up. They are supposed to.
I heard that interview live. That's a good one.
Okay, so what happens here this morning at 10 o'clock, they say that there were people working back there. They had seen some crews. I'm trying to get some video from Ring cameras. Let's see if I can do that in not too long. But we saw some crews leaving the area, and then they saw the fire blossoming up, and they, called 911. Now, investigators are out here. They have been talking to people, and we don't have... Okay, let's go to that sound. I'm hearing that they're ready. So you can hear from these people directly. Let's go to that.
Well, I simply came home and I was parking the car on the curb, and I looked to my left and I saw it looks like a little puff of smoke, like a barbecue. And I was thinking to myself, barbecue in a day like this, it's awful. So 30 seconds elapsed and I just went out the door and I looked, and it was like a third up the hill already. And I said 911. I called it, and then I ran into the house, got her going, and she came over and got the neighbor going, and that's pretty much the extent of it.
I thought it was some crazy barbecue, and I was like, who's doing a barbecue at this time of day? As I managed to walk through, I saw some neighbors out, and I said, hey, do you know any information about your neighbors in the back? They had no idea, so we managed to confirm it on Pulse Point, because we saw the one call that Anthony had, and luckily from our quick timing, because it was still relatively in that sort of like fetile stage, right? We managed to get it before it managed to get too out of hand, and we got both Ventura County and Los Angeles Fire Department on hand in like 2-3 minutes or so. It was
3 minutes.
quite impressive.
They're on point.
We are now back live, and what I'm going to show you, you see that deputy sheriff, he's holding yellow tape in his hand. This is about to become a crime scene, I have a feeling, or at least an investigative focus. They're going to probably set up yellow tape around these 4 homes over here, because again, what you're looking at the start of this fire is somewhere right behind here, possibly by people working the brush in some kind of capacity. We don't know that. I don't want to confirm that, but that is what people out here are telling us. Now, the other thing that happened when this whole fire began, this is an evacuation area. People are supposed to leave. The reason a lot of people didn't leave is because they ran down the street to the school. Let me know if you have that sound ready, because there are several schools nearby, and Hillcrest the middle school was not evacuated. But people were looking at the flames coming over. Parents started showing up at the school, lining up to get their kids out. Do we have that sound that we can go to it from the parents? Let's go to that if we do. They didn't evacuate the school, but it's in an evacuation zone, you were telling me?
Yes, and my house we got a warning call, and my mom just down the street, it's in an evacuation zone, so they're being evacuated.
But yet, the kids are not being evacuated from the school.
I just got an email like at 10:44 saying that they're monitoring the situation.
So you decided to take matters into your own
and then
hands?
I saw the line down the street here and decided to get in line.
What did they do with you guys?
Well, we just it was just like a normal day. We were like doing a work. I was in 3rd period, so I was in math. But then like we heard the fire alarm, so then we all knew what to do because we did the fire drill previously. So what we did was that we just went to the field and we were relaxing there for a bit, and we saw the fire. Everybody was just like, "Whoa!" People are here pretty upset because they haven't evacuated the school. Despite
imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want.
Are you concerned enough that you want to come get your kid?
Yeah, I'm picking up my goddaughter.
We're back here live, and the reason I'm showing you back this area, they're moving back the fire trucks to create the space for the yellow tape. But if you look at the flag, how it's moving the other way from where it was moving all morning. That flag was flowing all morning, almost to the side of the truck going south. Now it's beginning to shift, and these are the wind shifts we talk about that we've been seeing all day, little wind shifts. But I have a feeling this afternoon, and I'm going to let our weather people, our experts, confirm this stuff, but I bet that we're beginning to look at what will be the beginning of a wind shift later this afternoon, giving you final overview of what we have behind us. Though the beginning area of the fire, which an hour ago had like a battlefield of drops going, looking much better, and that is
Christina,
good news. We'll keep you updated.
I have a quick follow-up before we get to Adam, because he is here and he's going to give an update on those winds and the shift that's coming. But when you talk about this may have been started by workers dealing with the brush on, is it Sandy Avenue or Sandy Lane there? Are you referring to actual city or county workers or civilians?
It looks like a civilian crew. I'm looking at some ring video, and as soon, I don't want to put things out there until I talk to investigators and they truly confirm that is what they think is happening here. But according to several homeowners here this morning, they were working on clearing some of the brush in the back, and it was a private crew. It didn't have a city or anything like that. And, as they saw them leaving, they started seeing the smoke, and that's when they called 911, and I'm getting that from people in three different homes, which investigators are talking to. We'll have to see if that is the case. I think by 5 o'clock I should be able to confirm a little bit more. But that is a truck where the investigators were coming in to do their thing. I believe. What are you telling me, Andrea? I mean, Olin, go ahead, go to it. Let's see. We do that's the other thing. I'll tell you something. The fire crews on the Ridge Line deserve a big shout out. They have been working nonstop. It's been such a coordinated thing because they were flying above us. But those fire crews, it's dry, it is hot, and they have been up there creating the massive clearance because it may all look like it burned through, but underneath that burned area, and you might see little smoke things kind of popping up when the wind blows up. That is where new fires can begin at any moment, and that's why you don't call it over for a long time after you don't see actual flame, because any of this can restart and pop up, as we know from some of our large fires. And those fire crews up there are the ones who are making sure that does not happen. So everybody here very happy with the response and it's a Cal Fire, Ventura, LA County Fire, everybody out here working together, very coordinated. But I do think conditions are turning. It is still dry. It feels very, very, very dry, but I tell you, it's looking. As a matter of fact, the residents here at the house, I don't even know if he's going. Can you come out for me, because you got to see this, okay? I want you to imagine this poor man. How are you guys? Does it look better or what?
Well, I think everybody's feeling better right now.
I think you're feeling better.
Just letting them do their thing.
Yeah.
Let time do its thing, and they'll finish it up. And I think it's only the one home still, which is horrible, that was lost. But that's what it could have been.
And this is your uncle who's lived here for a long time. How many of these have, it doesn't get any better no matter how many of these you've got.
5 years.
65 years.
55. 1971, September.
Has it ever gotten this close?
I only paid $24.07. Can't buy a car.
You smile because we're sitting here and it's looking okay. A little earlier, we were all a little bit worried.
Yeah. So we'll watch the TV just to see how things are going. So it's 700 acres.
700 acres, only one home. I will let you go. I know you wanted to go sit down, but thank you for talking to us. I think, like I said, and I want to show you because these homes here, this is all these neighbors, all these people that live here have lived here for 20 years, 17 years, 30 something years, and he can't evacuate himself real quickly, so his nephew came running over. We talked to him earlier. It's the kind of people who, even though they were told they had to evacuate, they were not going to. But you see more trucks coming in. This is now what I call the investigative type of deployment. They're going to stay here probably through the night to make sure, and they have lines laid out to behind every one of those houses to make sure if there's another startup that they can actually take care of it. The other thing I wanted to show you before I go, because I know you have a lot of people and a lot of other things, deputies are also standing by. Again, people were supposed to be evacuated, but people are staying, a lot of them. And the miracle of the day, up there, up in the hill, the flames were all completely around that RV, which they managed to save.
Wow. Yeah.
And you know what? I gotta tell you, you know what? A credit goes to those. It was hard flying over all that smoke, but they managed to save that, and that's just want to leave it at a positive point, at least from here, from the starting point of the fire. We'll keep you updated. Let me see what I can find out more about the cost, and we'll check in with you later. Back to you.
Very good. Thank you for your very thorough reporting, Christina Gonzalez, there live for us on the Sandy Fire. Let's throw it back to our chief meteorologist, Adam Kruger, who's taking a look at those winds for us. What are they doing right now?
Yeah, they are, and Christina talked about this, exactly what I was going to say. The fact that it's calming down, they're in the process of changing direction, and the speeds will be lower as we go a little later. Three main things I want to do right here. One is just show the fire perimeter. Two will be showing what the winds have been doing so far. And then the third one is I'll look at the wind forecast going forward in the rest of this evening. So here's the wide view, Simi Valley up to the top part of your screen, Thousand Oaks down here. Let me take you in. This bright red section is the fire perimeter. This updated to reflect the 700 acres. You can see it covers a lot of ground, but thankfully not a lot of neighborhood, right? Just more so into the hills. And we've been showing from the aerials, you've been seeing this kind of peninsula shaped portion of this neighborhood a lot. So that gives you a little perspective as to what you're seeing on some of the aerials. We still have some flames in some spots. We still have some hot spots. They're monitoring all of that. But yes, and like we've been talking about the last hour or two, really things are overall from the air looking much better than going back like 3 or 4 hours. So again, here's the perimeter. Let me switch over to showing you what wind measurements are in this specific area. There's a cluster here, Simi Valley up to the north here. The fire is more so right about here, so we don't have weather instruments right where the fire is, but very close to it. So I'm going to select this one right here. And by the way, before I even do that, I want to point out what we're looking at right here. So these little, like, well, I'll call wind flags are showing the wind direction. So these are all pointing the winds going like this. You can see down towards Thousand Oaks, the winds have changed direction already, coming in more so from the west. And that's what we expect to see near the Simi Valley area within the next hour or even less than that. The red numbers you see are current wind gusts. So I'm going to select this spot right here. It's in the hills pretty close to where this fire is. And we'll look at what the winds have been doing over the last couple of hours in 10-minute increments. So we have some great data from some of these weather stations here and very timely as well. And so here's an example of, again, this is one of those weather stations up in the hills near where the fire is. You can see there's the 10-minute increments. There's the time frame, the latest at 2:50 p.m. showing that there's still some gusts that are near 30 miles per hour. But you'll notice that the winds mostly have been gusting under 30 lately. And again, this is a little higher up than where the fire is actually right now. So the lower in elevation you go, generally the lower the wind speeds are. But you go back another hour or two, you can see those wind gusts consistently in the 35 to 45 mile per hour range. So we've already seen that reduction. Still the wind direction, though, it's kind of that Santa Ana wind direction from the north-northeast. And still we have very dry air, although notice in the last update from 240 to 250, we see the relative humidity has gone up slightly. All right, let's switch over to weather one. Now we're going to look at the wind forecast. This is the third of the three things that I was talking about that I wanted to do. And our wind forecast is going to show that we've got not only the change in wind direction, but also the wind speeds backing off. If we can get to that, possibly let me know if we can. Otherwise, I'll just kind of explain it. Okay, here we go. So here's the forecast wind gusts. Our model showing here's Simi Valley, the fire located right about here. Our model is suggesting that by now it's thinking the winds will have already switched direction. Again, they've been from the northeast pretty much all morning long and midday, now starting to change direction coming in from the west. Let's go hourly from here. That's 3 o'clock. Here's 4 o'clock into 5 o'clock. Again, we're seeing the winds more so from the west, almost doing basically a 180 from what we've seen throughout the morning and midday hours. Now, the wind gusts are still going to be up around 20 or so as we go a little later into the day today. Notice by 6 o'clock, our model here showing the wind gusts under 20 miles per hour. So that's some good news here. And then the winds go even lower as we approach sunset. Here's 7 o'clock. Winds may be gusting somewhere in the 10 to 15 range in this area. And then by 8 o'clock tonight, we're showing the winds gusting under 10 miles per hour. And there still might be some fluctuation overnight. They could tick back up to like 10 to 15. But certainly the wind speeds are going to be lower the later in the day we go. And again, we're probably in like right about now or within the next half hour, I'd say the winds are beginning to change direction. If you're wondering about what's happening around the rest of the area, this is what I'll end with, showing the forecast gusts going from 8 o'clock tonight into tomorrow morning. Pretty light wind speeds. We do still see a little bit of a northeast wind in some of the hills and mountains as we go into tomorrow. But tomorrow's winds not expected to be as strong as what we're seeing today. And by the way, earlier today, there was a wind advisory. It expired at 3 p.m. Right now, no wind advisories for our area. Marla?
All right, very good, Adam. Thank you. Quick live look from above from Skyfox, and down below, that's the ridge that is home to the home that was destroyed. Fortunately, just one home lost. I say just, and I don't mean that to not give severity or seriousness to the homeowners who did lose their homes, of course. It just could have been so much
worse given the wind conditions that fire crews were dealing with earlier. And it was just ripe for more homes to burn. But the quick work by everybody on all hands on deck for all of the fire crews out there today. Ventura County, LA County Fire, LA City Fire, Cal Fire as well, mutual aid effort, and it's paying off. Thank goodness. All right, let's get to the ground. We have Joab Perez. This is his camera. He's a photojournalist for us here at Fox 11. And this is the home that did get destroyed by those flames earlier today, Joab. What's the latest from this cul-de-sac?
Yeah, so they're still hitting it with a lot of water, as you can see here, and their concern is, you can see, let me zoom in here a bit, there's still a little bit of hot spots that